What's going on, guys? This is Batman and the Hawk. As you all know, I'm the Hawk.
And I'm the fat man having technical difficulties over here already. What's up, guys? Check it out. Got our Fat Man and the Hawk t-shirts on. Looking nice, looking sparkly. You could head on over to Lavender's Touch and get yourself one. Link will be posted in the comments. Just click and support your boys. So what do we got to talk about today, Hawk?
We got quite a few things for you today. Jerseys to Trevor Lawrence. Quarterback competition in New England. We all want to hear about it. Julio. And we got a couple other things at the end of the show that we'll bring up and we'll talk about a little bit. But let's start it off. Jersey sales. What do you have to say?
Hey, my man Tebow. Selling out them jerseys, baby. That's football Jesus right there. But the crazy thing is, it looks like Justin Fields is in spots 3, 4, and 5 for jersey sales.
You know what? I'm honestly not too surprised. Honestly, it seems like he's got the biggest chip on his shoulder. He definitely feels like he should have been drafted higher. I know a lot of people are fans of him. Honestly, for me, I'm a fan of him. I want to see a Ohio State quarterback do really good in the NFL.
So there it is over on a Fox Sports Twitter page. Tebow 1 and 2, and Fields 3, 4, and 5. So, hey man, it looks like the folks over there in Chicago are excited to finally have a quarterback. The crazy part is, when do you think we'll see Fields come in? How soon do you think Dalton gets the plug yanked on him?
I think that, honestly, I think that Fields is going to see a lot of similarities to our man down in New Orleans. I feel like they're going to use the same type of offense like the same things that Taysom Hill used to see. He's definitely a better thrower than Taysom. I don't even think it's close, but that's what I'm expecting to see from Fields early. Him actually beating out Dalton in like training camp and preseason. I don't know. It's a tough call because it's not like Dalton's a bum. He's definitely not a bum. 4-time Pro Bowler. I thought he played fairly well in Dallas last year in his circumstances. It's not realistic for me to see. This isn't like a Matt Flynn, Russell Wilson thing where Matt Flynn had one great game. This is a little different. I think it's going to be pretty difficult for him to take over that job.
My boy Najee Harris coming in at number 7. And this was on the 28th. So this is 2 days ago, so it may have changed, but this was the last one I was able to find.
But isn't it crazy to see Brady at 6, though? The guy's been playing for 20 years. You don't think – how many times are people going to keep buying his jersey?
Come on, it's Brady.
Brady not slowing down.
There you go. The crazy part to me is Jacksonville fans are buying more Tebow jerseys than they are Trevor Lawrence fans. So is it that it's just Tebow fans buying Tebow Jacksonville jerseys? Or is it just, hey man, Jaguars fans, they want Tim Tebow?
I think it's a little bit of both because he's got a huge fan base, like a huge following already. Definitely a little bit of both, I think. They're having some noise over there. I don't know if you've read up on some of the things that people are saying about Tebow so far. He's having a pretty good camp. He's scored a couple of touchdowns a couple days ago. Didn't drop a football. I know our guys over, the other analyst, Mr. Ryan Clark, kind of bashing him. That's what tight ends are supposed to do. It's Tim Tebow, man. When he does it, it's way better.
Right? You see how jacked he looked? Like
he's ripped. It's huge.
But what I'm worried about is, so if he makes the team, well, I mean, they signed him. He makes the team. He's going to be the third tight end. Most situations, your third tight end is a blocking tight end, not a pass catching tight end. So how good is he going to be able to block?
I don't know. That's honestly my biggest question mark too. I think that question will eventually get answered. Just right now, I'm not so sure. You know what I mean? Like that's honestly, he's a quarterback, right? Well, he was a quarterback, and usually quarterbacks do have fairly good hands. They catch snaps. They play a lot of catch. They have fairly good hands. That's just what comes with Tim Tebow. Everything
quarterbacks aren't normally that jacked, though.
Well, he probably. This is funny. Everything special about Tebow came out of a bottle this year. Anyway, drug tests are coming. That was a pretty good one. I don't know, man. Like we'll see when the time comes. We're gonna get more news. I kind of don't want to beat Tebow to death because I have a feeling I want to talk about Tebow every single time we do this.
It's Tebow. It's football Jesus.
Yes. So I want to, unless you got more to say about Tebow right now, I want to move on to the next topic.
Let's go.
What did Tua say?
Well, it certainly wasn't what the Fox said. So apparently, apparently he came out and he had some things to say about some things. And we're going to pull it up here because we got the video over on Yahoo Sports of him saying it. Better to hear it from him. Oh, where's the sound?
Oh, he's flubbing.
That's how you know we're live.
Know the playbook necessarily really, really good, and that's on no one else's fault, but my fault. And our play calls were simple when I was in. I didn't have alerts and checks, whereas now, feeling more comfortable, I can kind of maneuver my way, through these things now.
And then we get the commercial.
Got to have the commercial. Got to get those ads in. So basically what this comes down to is they limited the playbook for Tua, and Tua's kind of announcing it to the world that, he wasn't really ready. He didn't know things. I guess Fitzpatrick got more of the, the plays. And, it kind of shows in this game. Like you go and you look at his, we'll call it film. It's like our boy Cheeto Boy likes to say, we'll test the film. If we go to watch Tua's film, Tua is one of those guys that kind of threw to his first read like 80% of the time. And it kind of makes sense if you're in the spot where, hey, I don't really know everything I need to know about what's going on. Let me just pick a receiver and just hope he gets open.
Well, it explains why he was hesitant, right? And there was other comments he made that if you read down through the page, you'd see him. I wasn't scrolling through the whole thing, but he says, I wasn't comfortable calling plays. The guys that were here last year were phenomenal. I just don't have the comfortability with checking plays and learning plays, rode with the play, even if I knew in a way that it wasn't going to work. I was going to try to make it work. Actually, what I'm saying is I didn't actually know the playbook necessarily really, really good, and that was the clip we saw. So it makes sense, like you said, why he would just go to his first read. That's why you didn't see him making a lot of audibles, and I'm pretty sure in that clip he basically said the playbook was dumbed down for him. So I think now in year 2, he's going to be – hey, Tua's going to be the MVP.
It's going to be MVP.
Tua's going to be the MVP. He's going to know the playbook. He's got Will Fuller. Julio's going to come to town. He's coming down to Miami. Miami's got all those first-round picks. They'll send one to Atlanta. Atlanta will be happy. They'll keep him out of the East, or they'll keep him out of the NFC. Send him to Miami. Only in my dream. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
Nah, not at all, bud.
But I know I saw another article where Lynn Bowden was saying that, hey, when this kid, when he's on, we ain't losing the game. So he believes in Tua. Of course, that could just be a receiver trying to get touches.
I don't know. My thing is do you think that this is somewhat of a knock on Flores? Do you think that he's kind of like in an indirect way kind of throwing his coach under the bus? Like, hey, I'm not ready. Here I am.
Absolutely think it was a backhand at his coach. And we were talking about this the other day because it's kind of a down low way of saying this guy set me up to fail. And your job as a head coach is to set your guy up to be a success. And if he doesn't know the playbook, you should see that in practice. You should see it in film study. You should see it in the room. And you're going to go throw him out there anyway. Knowing he's going to get murdered. And then you're going to yank him out in the fourth quarter when you're losing. It's crazy.
The thing that annoys me about the situation for Miami, specifically just last season, I feel like Fitzpatrick was having himself a career year up to that point when they yanked him. Like, I didn't feel like that he did nothing wrong up to that point. Like, I didn't feel like he lost them any games. I felt like he was playing very, very strongly. Like, he was, I believe he was in the top 10 statistically and just everything. He was playing pretty damn well. Like, do you think that the Dolphins would have had a better chance at winning certain games?
No, because Tua still went 6-3.
So you don't think that Fitzpatrick would have said, made me go 7-2? Maybe you guys don't lose that game against Denver?
No.
No, you still lose that game against Denver? Because honestly, I feel like that's the one game I can point out and say y'all win if you have Fitzpatrick.
Because you had to get Tua out there. It's weird because Fitzy was winning.
Mm-hmm. Mac Jones over Tua, and we've got a Julio is going to make Mac Jones a superstar. I don't know. All right, I'm ready to move on.
Julio is not going to New England.
Trevor Lawrence, no anticipation. What is this? All right, so I'm just going to read article I have. Don't really want to share the screen.
Ryan Leaf 2.0.
Basically, this is from Urban Meyer. The field changes, especially against NFL talent all over the field, and defense had the upper hand today. Talking about Thursday, it wasn't just him, so it's just a new area of the field, which is why you spend so much time down there practicing. It's a completely different game. He was very accurate Wednesday. Thursday, we all struggled, not just him offensively. That's Urban Meyer's take on the practice on Thursday and Wednesday, and then Tim Hasselbeck. I think this will be a significant adjustment. If there was one criticism of his game coming out of Clemson is that he didn't play with a ton of anticipation, mainly because he didn't have to. When you're down in the red zone, things happen quicker. It's a condensed area of the field, so anticipation, playing on time is critical. I think it'll be a big adjustment for him. So basically what Tim Hasselbeck is saying, that he believes that Trevor Lawrence is going to be the next Tim Hasselbeck.
Ryan Leaf 2.0.
Yeah. There's a thing. Like, there's certain offenses in the NFL where you don't really need a whole lot of that skill set. One offense that kind of just comes right out of me when I say that is Dallas's. With Mike McCarthy as the head coach, Sean McVay's offense in LA, like, they're two teams where like anticipation isn't that huge of a deal. Like, they're very wide receiver, quarterback friendly systems. So, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean the guy's going to be horrible. If they're just saying that he's missing a crucial part of his game for an NFL quarterback.
So I like the way we line these up, because everyone's coming out and saying how great Trevor Lawrence is going to be. And then we're saying, hey, seeing his anticipation and all that. Now, in Miami, everyone talks about how great Tua's anticipation is, and he didn't know the playbook. This is why I say this year, with knowing the playbook and his great anticipation and accuracy, he'll be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But Trevor Lawrence having no anticipation, hey, I think we're setting him up to be Ryan Leaf 2.0. I've been saying that. I said that a couple times. You heard me say it. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to eat the shit plate when the kid's a success, but I'm still calling Ryan Leaf 2.0.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I got mixed feelings about it. You know, now that Tebow's on the team, Tebow's a winner, and they're going to get some wins just because of Tebow. All right.
Hey, is Tebow going to be the backup quarterback?
No, he's going to be the tight end. But listen, I really do feel that, you know, everybody struggles at some point. You know, he is a rookie. You know, they're open about what he's struggling with, which is kind of cool. You know, we're getting kind of a little bit of a taste what we might see coming preseason and later on through training camp. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to be too critical and just be like, oh, this guy's going to be a bust. He's going to be a bum. You know, he's been successful his entire life in football. You know, now he's playing with a bunch of other players that have been successful their entire life playing football. So it's going to be interesting to see how the transition works for him. It's going to be interesting to see how he actually plays the game.
Ryan Leaf 2.0.
Tim Hasselbeck 2.0.
All he's done is win and win and win and win and win. Now that he's playing with a bunch of men that are going to want to smack the shit out of him to prove a point, playing in Jacksonville, and he gets his pretty little hair stepped on. He's going to cry.
He's going to cry.
And be terrible.
Tua going to see ghosts. Let me get through some comments here. Tebow will do majority of the work blocking, and there is a chance he will get touches in the red zone. And I agree with that. I think this is where we're going to see a lot of Tua. Not even just catching the football. Like, this is where you can see like a tight end jet sweep or something. Like, give the guy a rock. Let's see him run people over like he used to. I'm ready for that all day.
Hey, get Tebow the flea flicker.
It's one thing to read and understand a book than to actually play and understand, actually run the play and understand. Totally agree. Totally get it. Professional league, different environment, and Tua gonna see ghosts.
Coming from a Patriots fan. However, he is one of my most favorite Patriots fans. Big John Stud.
Oh, yeah. All right. I think it's time to move on to our next topic. And before we do, I would like to bring on the Cheeto.
Cheeto boy!
What up?
What up? What's going on?
Not much.
Are you seeing ghosts, or is it just Tua?
No, and I was going to say something about Tua, actually.
Yeah?
The reason why I think Brian Flores put Tua in instead of Fitzpatrick, he realized that their special teams was good because they got the best kicker in the league last year. And I think he realized their defense was good. He's like, okay, if we can't turn – because Fitzpatrick was a little bit of, gunslinger mentality. He would turn the ball over, but he would also make great plays. So I think that's why they're like, okay, we'll go with the guy that's not going to really push the ball downfield and just not turn the ball over. So I think they felt more safe with Tua than Fitzpatrick.
All right.
Yeah.
What?
So as you see, I had some, we'll call it technical difficulties.
What, you didn't hear me?
No. I heard you.
Oh,
I was just definitely distracted. We had a mini hawk sighting.
Oh, okay.
All right. So I just want to move on to the next topic here.
All right.
Obviously, you're going to know the most about this because you are a New England Patriots fan. Quarterback competition in New England, how's that shaping up? Who do you want to see win? We ask you this every week, and we just want to make sure that you believe that Sam Darnold is better than all of your quarterbacks over there.
Cam Newton's going to start and finish the season.
And finish?
Yep.
Really?
Yep. Hey, this is a rule in the Belichick system, McDaniel's system. Year one, you either sit like Tom Brady or you go in and you suck. So they're not going to ruin Mac Jones. They're going to let Mac Jones sit out. The only way Mac Jones plays this year is if the Patriots are out of playoff contention by like week 10 or 11. That's the only way or obviously Cam Newton gets hurt. Mm-hmm. Other than that, you won't see Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm. So I've got a prediction. So some things that I've been reading, about the camp so far is that they are pretty impressed with the way that Mac Jones is kind of carrying himself, the way that he's catching on to certain things. He's definitely getting some noise out of the coaching staff, which is, interesting that they're pretty open about it being a competition. And I think this could be the rare case that if he does play well enough that he could potentially start for New England sooner than later.
So you think that he could beat Cam out in training camp and start week one?
I mean, it's a possibility. It's not like Cam took the world on fire. Yeah, he looked great the first 2 weeks of last season.
Okay.
Then disaster struck for him. But,
so
we're
why
not necessarily talking about a guy that had a 30-plus touchdown year with 110 quarterback rating, only threw like 10 picks. We're not talking about that situation. We're talking about a guy that ultimately struggled to hit his wide receivers downfield. We're talking about a guy that struggled to hit not only that, but just simple plays, simple screens, simple things like out in front of him, a little easy hitch route from the tight end and hitting people in the slot. Like he was struggling on those things that are very key aspects in the Josh McDaniels system. I really feel like if Cam doesn't jump out, that they are going to 100% go with Mac Jones. That's just how I feel about it.
Okay, so this is the reason why I personally wouldn't start Mac Jones until at least that Tampa Bay game's over, because Mac Jones out of all these quarterbacks in this draft is getting compared the most to Tom Brady. And if Mac Jones goes out there and throws 4 picks against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, everybody's going to be comparing him to Tom Brady, and you don't want that for the kid. So that's why I personally wouldn't start Mac Jones until at least week 5 after they play Tampa Bay, because that's just going to be comparisons. It's going to be like, obviously you'll have the Brady-Belichick debate. Brady was better, Belichick was better, whatever. But I think the other talk is going to be like if Mac Jones goes out there and starts and he's playing against Tom Brady, like, yeah, there won't be as much talk on that, but I think there will be some talk that, Mac Jones threw 4 interceptions or he struggled or whatever.
Okay. What do you got to say there, fat man?
Cam Newton is probably going to be feeling some sort of way knowing the Patriots signed Brian Hoyer to come in and work with Mac Jones and teach him the playbook.
Mm-hmm. You really think I'm afraid of Hoyer and Destroyer? You really think
I think Cam's going to have a chip on his shoulder and Cam's going to be starting.
I think so too.
That's fair.
And this is another thing I brought up. I said I think Mac Jones was brought in, obviously, for the future, but I think he was brought in as an emergency quarterback. I think they're going to try this Cam Newton thing out. They want to switch to the new style, pocket or mobile quarterback offense, like how today's NFL is. So I think they're going to try this Cam thing out one more season, see how it goes. I said if Cam balls out this year and has a good year, I think they could bring him back I told you, I think they could bring him back for another year or two and just run this system. But if it doesn't work out, then I could see him going, hey, we tried 2 years in this Cam Newton system. We'll just go back to our pocket quarterback system. That's what works for us.
Yeah, just hold on 1 second. We have another guest in here. I just want to let that guest know. Just hold on, just for a couple minutes. We'll get you in there. Let you talk about things. Just bear with us. I was trying to message you. It wasn't able to work out, so just bear with us. You'll be in soon. All right, go on. I just didn't mean to ruin your thought.
Oh, that's all I had to say.
Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Unless you have anything else with the quarterback competition in New England that you want to talk about.
That's it right now.
Anything on you?
I got nothing. Why don't we go ahead and bring Clyde in and let's talk to him a little bit.
Yep.
Big Bears fan.
Hey, good evening, y'all.
What's going on, everybody? This is Clyde. This is the Bears fan.
Bear down, y'all.
Bear down.
Did you get most important question? Did you contribute to Justin Fields on the leaderboard for jersey sales? Did you get your Justin Fields jersey?
That's a question that's on my mind too. Did you do it?
You know what? I've been having a tough time when it comes to, my car got burned up in a fire and I lost my phone. So basically, I'm on a new phone, same number with a new phone. But I'm as much as I'm glad that Justin Fields is my new upcoming quarterback, I still got to slow my roll, and I'm still a guy that says that defense wins you the title. You know what I'm saying? So I still got Roquan Smith jerseys and all that stuff. But I'm hoping that the Justin Fields era happens soon. I'm just gonna slow my roll and wait till till Dalton messes up, and if he messes up, Fields is waiting in the bullpen.
Hey, I'm not trying to be a stickler, but are you in an area with like a TV going?
Actually, if you want to be technical, yeah, I'm watching Chicago Sky basketball.
Yeah, it's just we're getting a lot of feedback on our end, so I was just I
sorry
want to
about
make you aware about that. That's all.
I apologize.
It's all good. So what did you think about like my take with I just don't think that Fields could beat out Dalton. More or less, I think that he's going to be used kind of like a Taysom Hill from New Orleans, just on Chicago. Like, what do you think about that idea? Do you think that's an outlandish idea? Do you something that you'd like to see?
You know what? That idea. I was just thinking about how effective Taysom Hill was in New Orleans, either relieving sometimes Drew Brees, or being type that he can do a wildcat offense thing and all that stuff. So New Orleans, the pocket passing team with Drew Brees. Now that he's retired, who's their quarterback now? Jameis, and then Taysom just go still do the same thing. I mean, you wouldn't be surprised that Nagy would do that. But one thing about my fellow Bear fans is if the plays act are a little screwed up and all that stuff, we gonna be cussing out Matt Nagy. We gonna cuss him out. So as much as that's a good idea, it's got to be effective to do that. But I'd rather see Justin Fields, if not this year, next year, take over the offense completely.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. I just want to kind of, move on to our next topic. Probably the biggest news in the NFL right now, Julio. Where the hell is Julio going to go? I know that this is an interesting topic because nobody knows what's going on.
Because there's 4 guys in the room that all want Julio.
It's weird because I'll be honest.
You look good in a Bear uniform.
I'll be honest. I don't necessarily think Seattle needs Julio, but if we got Julio, if Seattle acquires Julio,
another toy for Russell Wilson to play with.
All right, so let's just go a round table here. What are your thoughts, Fat Man?
So, as much as I would like Julio in Miami, I do live in Arizona. Stadium's right down the road. If I'm Steve Keim, I'm on the phone with Atlanta right now. I'll give you 2 1s, 2 2s. What do I got to give you to send Julio my way You put Julio out there. Larry Fitz is going to come back. Fitzy's going to come back. You're going to have Julio. You're going to have Fitzy. You're going to have D-Hop. You're going to have A.J. Green. You're going to have James Conner in the backfield and Kyler Murray back there with his little Roadrunner feet. You just come out 4 wide all the time. Who are you going to double? Nobody. And then if your pressure does get to Kyler, he's scoring a touchdown. Like, how are you stopping that? That's the ultimate mutt team right there.
That sounds like a Dave franchise rookie team.
It does. It does sound like a Dave franchise.
That
We're
sounds
talking
like
about
a
the guy
nightmare.
that decided to trade for the Bosa brothers.
But tell me that's not
Woo!
like how are you stop? No defense can stop that. Jalen
I mean-
Ramsey can't guard all 4. Have Larry play in the slot. It's game over.
Yeah.
And they
And
still
then,
got Christian Kirk who can go 5 wide.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing Mr. Hawk up there cringe if his Seahawks gotta play the Cardinals and that happens. Woo.
You know what, though? Like, even if that does happen, I would just expect Seattle, Arizona games to go 48, 46 when they play, you know? Seattle on top, of course. But, you know, realistically for me, I've been seeing a lot of things going on about the NFL. We saw the obvious one with A.J. Brown trying to recruit him. Everybody saw that. New England is a favorite. I guess he said that he wants to play with Cam Newton. L.A., Los Angeles Rams, they're probably the 3rd favorite on the list just because it makes sense for them to go after. Now, they don't necessarily have the capital to trade for him, but they definitely have the talent to. So they could definitely send them a player and not really hurt them. And now we got a new team that's like folding up there. Apparently, the Seattle Seahawks has had discussions with Atlanta. Russell Wilson actually had a discussion and a conversation with Julio Jones about the potential of them playing together. So, I mean, that's a possibility there. And Seattle's like in the same boat as LA there. It's like they don't necessarily have the draft capital. They could potentially make a trade with a player.
Well, I wonder if Julio was like, yo, Russ, your O-line sucks. You said it. Even in Madden, your O-line sucks. How you going to get me the ball? Forget about it.
Yeah, he's going to say that and then realize the guy threw 40 touchdowns last year and just be like, wow, I want to be on that offense.
Didn't he lead the league in red zone interceptions too?
Yeah, I think it's not a good stat, but I think he had 3 of them. But the thing is if they were to package some type of deal where they keep DK Lockett on the team and add Julio Jones, I was going to ask you the same question that you just said about Arizona. I mean, you got washed up talent over there. Over in Seattle, you got 2 hungry young athletes with Julio Jones, arguably the best wide receiver in this generation. That is disgusting to think about.
I mean, don't you guys still got that DJ kid who's 6'4", 230 with 4.2 speed? That is not fair. Imagine him going to Seattle and he got, imagine Julio going to Seattle and there's a 6'4", 230-pound Matt cheat code running routes just for Mr. Russell.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Julio and DK and like Tyler Lockett, that's just game over. Game over. Especially with the offense that Shane's bringing into us. Like, they're going to be really, really crazy. But I want to hold on to that thought. We do have another guest in here. If the fat man is ready to bring him in.
Yeah, so this is our Steelers fan that comes and joins us. This is John. Let's bring him in. What's up there, big dog?
What up, man? What up? How you doing, man? Y'all good?
What's up, Steel Nation?
Hey, we got a lot of hate on Ben this week, last week, and the week before, so I'm gonna wear his colorway jerseys just to get on everybody's nerves.
I just want to let you all know. This is 5 wide right now.
5 wide.
We are 5 wide on the
what
line.
Arizona's offense is going to look like, 5 wide.
Yeah.
I just want to know. I just want to let you know you're in the middle, John.
That's all good. I ain't tripping. It's all good.
You got
I'll be
them
the middleman.
Roadrunner feet.
I'll be the middleman. It's all good.
So like this is, you're following so far. You know what's going on. We're all putting our opinions on Julio Jones, right? I'm going to turn this over to the Cheeto, right? And then we'll have Clyde answer it next, and then I want you to answer the question too. All right. I just didn't want you sitting there without joining us in on the fun.
It's all good. Go ahead. I'm ready when y'all.
Over to you, Mr. Patriots media, aka the only media he gets is from Madden. None of his is like legit. He goes on like those news stories and tries to figure things out, and then where'd he go?
He got scared.
That's what happens. That's what happens with him all the time.
Dang it. He ruined a good thing. But go ahead, Bears fan. You're up.
Okay. Let me see. Justin Fields with a new shiny toy that came from Atlanta. And Julio Jones. And we already got Allen Robinson, a healthy Tariq Cohen, David Montgomery toting the rock 20 times. Still got Ed Miller. We still got two capable enough tight ends. I mean, the sky's the limit, but the only thing is, like Seattle and Chicago got something in common. Our offensive line has issues, and we need our offensive line to come to protect our quarterback, so we can do what we're supposed to do. Because once we get the protection for the Andy Dalton or Justin Fields, and they can go to work, have fun with these new toys. I mean, but like I said, the thing about it is we got, Uriah Pace is, Uriah Pace got to make it happen. That's the only thing. And if he ever does, then again, hopefully we can make, again, Allen Robinson and Julio Jones opposite each other, man. Then got Justin Fields, sort of those guys, and then in the slot, Darnell Mooney. That dude is blur. Whew.
So basically, you're saying I want Julio over in Chicago, and that's it. Like, I don't
That's what it sounds like to me.
care where he goes.
Please
come to Chicago.
The man can catch a cold. I
got a question for you. Clyde. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You want Julio Jones. What is your reason behind it? Is that somebody you just want or you need? What is this? What is this? A want or a need? It sounds like a want to me versus a need.
Okay, I want him. Do we need him? Not really, because we still got capable enough receivers. Again, we got Allen Robinson, who wants to have a big year, so he's for free agent. So we can keep him for free agency. Again, we got a healthy Tariq Cohen coming back. Again, we got a tailback that can tote the rock 20 times. We got young, beefy, mean offensive linemen on offensive tackles on the left and right side now that can protect Justin Fields and be his bodyguard and of course bodyguard.
So let's just say y'all decide y'all want to go after Julio Jones, right? What do you think they should go? And I'm gonna tell you if you're right or wrong on this one. Go ahead. What do you think he deserves? What he's worth?
If we have to trade for him, I mean, man, we're gonna have to clean. We basically giving up a lot of draft picks.
Because you really think they're gonna give up a star receiver and you're not giving nothing in return? You're gonna need more than just a first round draft pick.
That's why I'm saying, do we need him? And that's a good question. You gotta think about that type of stuff. So I look at it like this. My first thought when I think about Julio Jones, yes, it's a big name. This is somebody that we know that can do damage on the field, know that put up big numbers. But we also got to talk about health and age. I'm gonna start with his age. He's 32. He's 32. For another one, he's 32. He's coming off the worst season of all since I want to say 20. If I could do my math right, I want to say his first 3 years, his third year in this league. This is his lowest yardage, and it's because of injury. Now, for those who want him, you have to be concerned about that. Is he worth a first round pick? Being with the health issue, becoming an issue now. Now he's in his 30s, he's in his early 30s, but he's still in his 30s. Do you believe
that a first round pick is enough for him? You think that should be your number one goal? We're gonna get a first round pick after somebody that's in his 30s and dealing with injuries, especially in his legs. Is that a concern? You gotta think about these concerns. I wouldn't do first round pick for him. I wouldn't because of the health issues and the fact that he is in his 30s. I'll be scared about that. Now, I'm not saying he won't be a good asset, but you also got to think about the pros and cons in this situation. And a first round pick for me is somebody I need that's young, that's starting, like how we did with Minka. Minka was in his second year when we gave up our first round pick for him. You know what I'm saying? Talking about getting the first round pick to a 32-year-old is questioned. That question, I question stuff like that because I don't know. What if he's not healthy? What if he's not the guy he say he is? Yeah, he want to get out of Atlanta. What if he goes somewhere and sting up the joint because he can't get right health wise? Then what?
But
you get the first round pick.
But also, nowadays, like win now, because if you could win with a receiver like that now, there you go. So you don't really need to give up first round.
But you just talked about protection. If you go to protect Mitchell Trubisky, you might give that up. Your first round pick that you give up may be that protection, but you give it up for a 32-year-old guy. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't know. Are you really sure about that? Are you saying you want him just because you want him to be with Allen Robinson? You think Allen Robinson going to be there if you're talking Julio Jones? Because what if they want Allen Robinson?
This is what I would do.
But that's just my opinion on that one.
What I would do is that I would only trade for him if I'm a Super Bowl. First, I would only trade for him if I was a Super Bowl roster. Secondly, I would do one of those Carson Wentz deals where if he produces well at his age, you can get a first round pick of him, but I would give up a second. And if he has to have a certain amount of yards or touchdowns or snaps played or whatever, you got to do one of those deals. So I think you could do a second originally, and then if he has let's say 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns, then you give up a first round pick and do one of those deals.
There you go.
Because then that means he's worth.
Julio Jones said he want to go to a team where he can win. Chicago is not somebody that's going to win right now. No offense to your team, but right now you're not a Super Bowl contending team.
So this is why I think like a team like Seattle or LA has a good chance. Well, not even just a good chance, just a realistic shot of potentially getting them. Say for the Hawks in general, what player would come to mind that would justify this type of trade? Maybe Bobby Wagner. He was in that system. That he is an aging linebacker. He's lost a step. Jordan Brooks played a hell. Like he was really good last year. He could step in that middle linebacker role. He's younger. He's faster. Obviously, Wagner's a huge asset. One of the top 3 linebackers in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
But I could potentially see that trade working. I can also see us giving up a second rounder and say Quandre Diggs in there. So they're getting a surefire starting free safety, and then they're getting a second round pick. I could see that potentially being the trade deal for Seattle. And in those circumstances, I could see that same type of package from LA going over into Atlanta as well. Because they're 2 teams that you see they're in trade talks, but they ain't got draft capital. No, but they have the roster that could potentially get them, and both teams have a stacked roster. So that's what I see with Seattle and LA in particular.
Yeah, I can see Seattle too. I can see that.
You would like this, the Hawk. What I'm about to say. What about Chris Carson and a 3rd round pick or something for Julio? And we get to see your boy Rashad Penny in the backfield.
Oh, dude, jack me up. I'll take Rashad all day. I love Rashad. Give me some more Penny.
There you go.
But all right, so going back to our topic here, we tried to get your, we already know you're all in on the Julio going into New England. You have any other thoughts there, Cheeto?
Write it down. Tuesday or Wednesday, Julio Jones will be a New England Patriot.
All right, yeah, just like you said a couple weeks ago. Write it down. Aaron Rodgers will be a Pittsburgh Steelers.
No,
that ain't happening.
Matthew Stafford isn't an upgrade over Jared Goff. So glad I muted you while you were moving around there because it was kind of distracting. I'll go ahead and unmute your mic if you're ready. Just give me a thumbs up when you're ready to go there.
Well, what I said is Aaron Rodgers would go to Pittsburgh next year if Big Ben retires. That's what I said. I didn't say this year.
In my dreams. In my dreams.
I didn't say this year at all. I said next offseason if Aaron Rodgers or Big Ben retires, this could be a possibility.
All right, so let's just try to stay on topic. John, let me give you your take on the Julio thing. Where do you want to see him go? Where do you think he's going to go? What's your thoughts on like all the trade rumors going on right now?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't care. I just hope, but if he do go to a team, don't let it be Baltimore because his career is gonna go down the drain. You want to know why? Because that's a running offensive team.
Ooh,
They're not passing the ball like that. And red zone, yeah, but stretching the field wise, no, and we all know it. So if it be anybody, I would hate for it to be Baltimore. I really would. I really would. Everyone is correct.
So you're saying you'd hate it to be Baltimore for the fact that he's not going to get production, or do you secretly hate that it's going to be Baltimore because that gives them that true number one that they've been searching for?
95%.
And Al Bateman.
95% is the first one ruined his career. 5% because it's Baltimore, and I hate them. But I think it ruins his career because now, if you think about it, another 30-plus-year-old guy, Des Bryant was brought in, and what did he do in Baltimore?
Okay, to be fair, Des Bryant had
And
a lot of
32, 33.
He had a lot of help looking good with a guy named Romo throwing him the ball. All right.
Well, time out here.
Uh-oh, we're on the Romo.
Time out.
Des
Bryant, for one, Des Bryant's not on the same level as Julio Jones. He's never been.
Thank you.
Fair, but they both in their 30s though, and no production was done. You brought in a veteran guy for production, and you didn't give him any. You overthrew the guy. You can't get the ball to the guy. Julio Jones, somebody that can stretch the field, and if Lamar Jackson can't get it to him, what's Lamar's weakness? Consistency in throwing the ball. If you can't consistently throw that ball, and all you're gonna do is run, how's Julio Jones gonna get his touches? That's what I'm worried about.
All right, here's
Lamar's weakness isn't consistently throwing the ball. Lamar's weakness is not having receivers to throw the ball to.
Don't start that. Don't say that because when he had 35 touchdowns the year before, nobody was arguing about or complaining about the receivers. It's when they started losing last year, we would have complained about his receivers. I can't go for it. I can't.
Here's what I will say. We're going to figure out, I think, this year how good Lamar Jackson is because if you look at the way the Baltimore Ravens have built their offense, it is not a run power offense anymore. People want to say it's a Lamar Jackson. It is not a Lamar Jackson offense anymore. I'll tell you that right now. They got rid of Mark Ingram. There's no Mark Ingram on that roster anymore. They went out and got 2 wide receivers in the draft. They went out and got Sammy Watkins. They already have Hollywood Brown, and they already got one of the best tight ends in football. This is more of a pocket passing quarterback offense you're going to see in Baltimore. They also got a new offensive coordinator in Baltimore. So you won't see the same, power run that you will and kind of.
I hope not because that one-dimensional shit don't work. Trust me, I know.
You're going to see more. You're going to see more of the pocket passing quarterback offense. I think.
I hope so. I really do.
And we're gonna find out if Lamar's really a pocket passer or he's a running back.
It's not even more or less like, are we going to find out if he's a pocket passer? It isn't even that. It's more or less, can he go back to the success of his MVP season and literally gel with both throwing the football and running the ball like he did in that season? In fact, like he did from the last 6 weeks of last season. He was the hottest quarterback going into the playoffs last year from week 13 on. That was him statistically top in the league in passer rating. He was one of the best. He was on top with touchdown passes as well and not turning the football over. I know a lot of fans like to say, hey, he fumbles the ball. Every quarterback fumbles the ball. He fumbles the ball, yes, but he doesn't actually lose as many fumbles that he actually puts on the ground. So,
but that's still bad, though. That's still bad, though. You gotta be able to control that ball.
Sure.
I will say that he's like Aaron Rodgers in this one. He doesn't play as well when he's behind. When he gets behind by 14, it's hard for him to come back.
Yeah.
And that's really his biggest knock, in my opinion, is he can't, once he gets down by 2 possessions, it's really hard for him to come back in the game because that's why I think Baltimore's changing their offense, because the way their offense was last year, it was like run the ball,
mm-hmm.
throw it to keep the defense honest. But when you're down 14 in the fourth quarter, you can't just run the ball anymore. You have to keep throwing it.
Exactly.
Throwing it. He didn't have the skill players, so I think it was a mixture of both. it was a mixture of them not having the right personnel, but it was also a mixture of.
And that's what happened in that playoff game. If you really think about it, they run it all game long till they shut it down and they forced them to throw the ball. And when you decide to throw the ball in the end zone, look what happened. So that I hope so. I really hope so.
I'm surprised.
Wait, he threw the ball one time in his entire career to the other team in the red zone.
It happens, man. You can't be one-dimensional. You're not always going to get win. You're not always going to win the game running the ball.
True, but that was his first mistake. We can't just go like, hey, that's since he did it one time. He's a piece of shit. He's the worst.
He never threw it. I'm not saying he's the worst quarterback. I'm just saying, but it just goes to show that you have to be able to be balanced. Because somebody took away your best asset, it becomes difficult to play the game. It becomes difficult.
My thing is I agree with a lot of what Jordan is saying. The Ravens were built as a team to get a lead, control the clock, and just keep pounding the ball. You look at what they have now, and it's more or less like an offense out. It's like, I don't know. You guys can stop me if I'm wrong, but I feel the offense looks a lot like Michael Vick's offense in 2004. High-powered receivers, decent running back. I think that's what it's starting to look like over there. He can sling the rock, run the ball. It's going to be centered around Lamar Jackson 100%. And they're not going to just want him to spread the field and throw the ball. They're going to want him to spread the field and take off as well.
Well, another thing too is Ingram was more of that like power in between the tackle running back. J.K. Dobbins is more of an inside zone running back, and he can also that will get Lamar some easy completions because he can catch the ball in the backfield. He's more of your today's running back. So that's another thing. Well, that's why I see them going through more of a spread offense, just because of J.K. Dobbins being the main guy now too.
Just to answer one of the comments in there, asking if I can see your name, I can only see the last word of your name.
That's weird.
My Detroit Lions looking at Todd Gurley be a good number 3 running back in case Swift and Jamal Williams get hurt. Lions want to run the ball a lot. That's what Dan Campbell said. The guy also said he's biting kneecaps. I just want to throw that out there.
Oh, Jesus.
Bite them kneecaps. Eat them kneecaps. Dan Campbell.
I hope he wants to run the ball when Goff don't have nobody to throw the ball to when Tyrell Williams is your number 1 wide receiver.
Hey, according to you, Goff's a franchise quarterback.
Goff's better than
downgrade.
But Goff doesn't have nobody to throw the football to.
If you don't believe us, just go back and watch Jordan's film study over on our YouTube page. Go ahead, lady in the background, post a link for our YouTube page. Go watch our YouTube video of Jordan's film study of Matthew Stafford after saying for 3 weeks that Matt Stafford wasn't an upgrade over Jared Goff, and how he disintegrated and imploded his own argument.
Oh, Lord.
Well, we still got to watch the Jared Goff film or him too.
I can't hear him. I think he's talking about him.
Yeah, Clyde, we can't hear you. Oh, hold
you got
on.
him on mute still?
There we go.
Now go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Repeat that thought. Sorry, Clyde.
I was saying that as long as Mr. Stafford got that gun arm, he's going to be an upgrade over Mr. Goff. And the only thing now, Goff is inheriting the mess that Detroit had. So Goff is going to struggle in Detroit, especially in a division that I know very well. As long as Aaron Rodgers is still there, doggone it, it's going to be Green Bay, my Bears, knock on wood, and Minnesota. And Detroit's always going to be last.
I'm not saying that.
Well, according to Cheeto Boy over there, you won't have to worry about Aaron Rodgers next year. He's going to be wearing a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey.
And if he do, I'm buying the jersey.
Take him off. Get him out, Pittsburgh, brother. Please get Aaron Rodgers out of my hair.
Hey, you can't afford no Aaron Rodgers.
I'll even go a little farther. Jordan Love is going to be the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers this year.
And that means my Bears will have lunch and dinner and a midnight snack because Jordan Love don't know that offense yet, and I just look for my Bears to just tee off on him and have just Beast.
Jordan Love didn't
What up,
even
Nico?
dress an entire game all season last year. He didn't even dress.
Yeah, we don't know how good Jordan Love is yet. Nobody, the media don't even know how good Jordan Love is because
Nobody knows.
That's true. I mean, I'm saying this now, and then Jordan Love might come out and be the second coming of those guys, and then I'll be really upset. Oh hell no! So
Yeah.
I'm gonna calm down. I'm gonna watch what I say about Green Bay quarterback
All right.
dilemma, because that Jordan Love might be a beast behind their closed doors, and when if Aaron Rodgers leaves and he takes over and he starts lighting it up before the Bears face them, I'm like, uh-oh. And y'all gonna look at me like,
Dang,
what happened?
767. Dang.
I mean, think about it. Green Bay already has three franchise Hall of Fame quarterbacks:
Yeah.
Yes,
Bart Starr, Aaron Rodgers, and Brett Favre.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I
Yeah,
kind of want to address this comment here.
I knew you would.
All
So I
right,
put
so
it up there. Oh, that
before
one.
Lions got Matt Patricia, Bears was always in basement. Lions always beat Bears with Jim Caldwell. So since 2000 and we'll just say 2001, how many times has the Bears won the division and or been in a Super Bowl or NFC Championship game, opposed to the Detroit Lions that has always been picked to finish last in the division?
Thank you. We're always in the conversation. We're never in the basement like.
I thought we were going to talk about the Stafford comment that was up there on the.
Yeah, that's out there too. That's out there too.
I'm going to let that one go because that's like the one thing I have a hard time arguing with myself.
Here. Let's address the Stafford comment. So I want to know, how do we feel about Stafford on the Rams? His career record versus above 500 teams is 7-67.
Jesus.
The new team will bring him new success. So I am a Stafford fan. I think Stafford's going to do great with the Rams, and I do think he's going to have much more success with the Rams because, like we said, the Lions were a basement team for forever. And how do you win like that? Detroit is where talent goes to fizzle.
Yeah, we all know that. I feel like he'll have a great opportunity because they have a defense versus what he had to do with Detroit.
God.
Detroit ain't had no defense like the Rams. The Rams, if they got defense, got secondary and a front seven. So I think he'll benefit from this team because of that defense. I think he will.
LA Rams is top 5 at top, and he gonna be over there. All he gotta do to himself is go. I can't. He's gonna be over there quarterbacking like I ain't gonna screw this up. I'm gonna pass good, and I'm gonna give it to the running back. And if it's 3 and out, just sit down and watch my defense give me the ball back.
Yeah, the thing though is look at that system that Matthew Stafford's going to be in, and you know what? I actually just read some things about this. Sean McVay is very pleased with Stafford so far in training camp. He likes the way that he carries himself. He likes the way that he is there on time, how he presents himself as a team leader. He's making some good throws. He's Sean McVay. We all know that he had a really bad time with Jared Goff over the last season or so. This is refreshing. He's got a cannon for an arm. And he doesn't have to. He's in a system now where it's very, very wide receiver friendly. Very, very wide receiver friendly. There's almost a drag on every single play that is almost free release because they don't have to line up on the line of scrimmage. Almost every single play, Sean McVay runs that drag, and that's easy yards for a guy like Stafford. Just take that easy throw. That's a couple yards right there. Honestly, Stafford on the Rams, I'm scared. Unless we get Julio. But I'm scared.
How you think I feel? My Bears got to face this on Sunday Night Football, man.
Yeah, but is Julio Jones going to play defense all of a sudden or something?
Right.
You act like we would need a defense when we have that offense. Who's stopping that receiver core?
I mean, you still need a defense to bail you out. Hey, you still need the defense. You went
put the
football
quarterback on
3 different ways.
Can't throw it to a Julio Jones type. That we all know that. The
We got
quarterback goes can't throw to the receiver.
He'll get a strip sack or two. I can see it happening. We'll get a defensive stop when we're winning 75-53.
Is Ethan Postic all of a sudden going to start blocking Aaron Donald one-on-one?
Listen, we don't talk about Ethan Postic. You'll get yourself in the penalty box if you mention that name.
Uh-oh. Penalty box.
What happened?
So
is that a sore spot?
How about this one? Who will have a better season? Who's going to have a better season, Cam Newton or Dak Prescott?
Dak Prescott. This is not even a conversation. Cam Newton is not a franchise quarterback anymore. I'm sorry. It's over for him. He's on a 1-year deal. They using him to boost up Mac Jones. When Mac Jones ready, he'll be the future. I don't see Cam Newton finishing past week 4. Mac Jones will be starting by then. Dak Prescott is going to have a better season. That's the franchise guy.
Dak Prescott is be motivated from what happened to his leg.
Right, yeah, comeback player of the year. That is a comeback player of the year. You heard it first. Dak Prescott going to be comeback player of the year. Watch. Future.
Well, there ain't no way he's not going to be when he throws for 6,500 yards and still only wins 8 games.
Hey, I'm just talking about stats. I'm talking about the team. Statistically wise, he's gonna have a better career.
I had a prediction last season. I told the fat man, like, I see Dak Prescott throwing 6,500 yards and winning 7 games. And unfortunately, that didn't come to pass, even though he was on pace.
He was on pace, though, before that injury, man.
I almost called that shit right down the middle. Unfortunately,
he could have done. He was averaging 400 plus a game. I think 450 a game before that. So I'm
going to say for this question, Dak Prescott will have the better season, and it's
definitely
because he'll play 16 games, and Cam's not going to finish the season.
I'm giving him 4 weeks, and Cam Newton's done.
Like I said before, Dak gonna be motivated from that horrific injury.
Thank you. Whoever said that. Thank you.
He's gonna have such a big year that Jerry Jones gonna be like, "Hey, you know what? Where's my wallet?"
What do I do to you?
And Dallas is gonna have an actual winning record in that. I'm talking about they gonna be like 11 and 6 or 11-6 in that, and they gonna run stuff over there. I feel bad for the Philadelphias and the Washingtons and the New York Giants got to face this.
I want to see the Giants too much.
So Cheeto Boy is gonna like what I'm about to say. I think Dak has better receivers.
Way.
But I'm going to go with Cam Newton because Belichick got him 2 tight ends to throw to. They're taking back the middle of the field. They got Nelson Aguilar, who's a valid deep threat. They're in major talks for Julio. As far as winning games, I like Cam Newton's chances.
Cam Newton ain't even lasting long, but I respect how you feel.
I respect how you said it. All right? You didn't just come over here and do fat man things by saying, "Hey, I think Cam's going to be there because the end." He said, they got a more improved offense. If things fall in place and Cam stays the starter, it could definitely happen, especially in a winning situation. So, I mean, that was well said.
I was all on board. Like back when, we had many discussions about how much we liked Cam Newton.
Yeah, we're both fans.
Back in the MVP days, leading into that season, we were talking about it. So I definitely think some of that Cam is left in there. And now you put the right weapons around him, the 2 tight ends, nice short throws over the middle, Aguilar going deep. And if they get Julio, it's
all of this is for Mac Jones.
Dangerous.
All of this is for Mac Jones.
They got 2 man of a tight ends over there. We're talking Johnny Smith and Hunter Henry.
They ain't putting Tebow out there.
It's not Tebow. It's like Tebow plus like half of Trevor Lawrence, and then there you go. You get a Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, that tight end set gonna be serious. I agree.
I can't wait.
It is. When we talking wide receivers, Cowboys definitely got the better wide receivers.
Can Cheeto get back in here? Is he all right? Give me a thumbs up.
But here's the thing that Cam got to do. Cam got to get out of himself and use the thing that I kind of get turned off about Cam Newton. So he acts like a diva when it comes to quarterback sometimes. Like all this is supposed to happen because he's Cam Newton. No, you use the coaching, use your weapons and receivers, and use that arm. I know you got an arm. That's why you're not just because of your leg. You got an arm. So why so throw it to these tight ends, throw it to those receivers. And
last year wasn't all his fault.
Yeah.
He had nobody. He really had nobody.
Play
He played the cards he was dealt with.
Play calling. Right. Their play. I
love it.
But I just feel like New England could have played a lot more better.
They take for a reason. They knew they were doing. New England knew exactly what they was doing. Because look what's happening now. Now they went from not being a contender at all to a contender team all over again. Belichick is a smart man. He knew what he was doing. He tanked on purpose. I don't care what nobody said. He knew what he was going to do because he knew he was going to come back with vengeful. And look what he did. He did the best shopping in free agent I've ever seen so long as I've been watching football. He grabbed anybody. And you got to think about the team, the players that left because of COVID that are coming back. And majority of them was defensive players.
They were opt-out.
Yeah, think about that.
They were opt-out.
Belichick knew exactly what he was doing.
So
he ain't fooling
I
nobody.
don't disagree that Belichick knew what he was doing, but I want you to think about one little crazy fact
Go ahead.
that I brought up to Cheeto Boy. When was the last time that a team won in free agency? It translated to wins in the season.
The Buccaneers.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers last season.
Tom Brady. Tom Brady.
I mean, this is Bill Belichick, though. This is Bill Belichick we're talking about, though. I guess we have to find out with Bill Belichick now. We're going to find out. But this team right now, New England, is a dangerous team right now. On paper.
Dave.
No more opt-out and all that stuff. Full roster of people. I mean, the play calling be better, and Cam gonna be like, "Oh, you got this kid over here trying to take the job."
He ain't trying to. He gonna.
New England's going to
eventually.
start Brian Hoyer week 6.
So we have a little bit of an issue here. We have another member that's in here, but unfortunately, our stuff was maxed up at 5. So I'm just gonna, just respectfully ask one of John or Clyde if one of you two would step out for the 619er so we can see what he has to say, and then I'll send you guys a message a little bit after.
I don't care who it is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You guys just figure it out between yourselves, and we'll bring on this other guest here.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll talk to y'all soon, then.
All right, man. It was great having you on here. Great.
Hey, I'm glad to be on here, man. Talking Bears and football.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, man, this is awesome.
He knows the Seahawk fan over here knows a little bit about them Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I got no problem with Seattle either. I have a girlfriend that lives in Seattle, and she waits for me to get my own place. So I got respect for Seattle.
Oh, he dropped out. Okay, yeah, it's stuck at 5. Okay. All right, well, thanks, man.
All right, I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right, I'll see you. 619er, what's going on? You got me?
You got him on mute again? You got somebody else on mute?
No, he's not muted.
He's on mute.
I think he's having some service issues in there.
Because he's driving.
They're like, we don't want you driving and on stream.
Yeah. I don't want you to get no car accident.
There he is. What's going on, buddy?
You want to go, girl? You want to go?
Hello?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you right now.
Yeah, we hear you.
All right, how you guys doing tonight?
We're doing pretty good. You're not Ubering over there, are you?
Not Ubering.
Fuck no, I ain't Ubering, dude. I'm driving to go get food. You
All
guys
right, cool.
took
What
me
do you
damn long.
All right,
So we're getting off topic now, dude.
Yeah, what's your team?
The Chargers, bro.
The Chargers. All right, cool. We got a Chargers fan in here, everybody. Let's ask some Chargers questions. I got one right off the top of my head for you. How do you feel about this year's draft?
You know what? I feel really good about this year's draft. I wasn't sure about Radon Slater. When the pick came in, I was kind of up in hands about it. But the more film of the kid that I watch, I'm really, really psyched about the kid. And it's nice to have somebody out there protecting Justin Herbert's blind side. Obviously, after last year's draft, I had a lot of questions about Justin Herbert, which a lot of them were answered. But I'd like to get better at his footwork in the pocket when he has, pretty much a pretty solid offensive line. I think he's probably going to take the league by storm this year because of all the help that he has up front. When you look at what Justin Herbert was able to do with a makeshift offensive line in the NFL last year, putting up 31 touchdowns as a rookie.
In the room. Put it on.
You got elite weapons on the outside, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated receivers in the league, and I would still take him over Julio Jones.
I agree.
Take him over Julio?
No, the first comment.
So
Underrated.
Keenan Allen's definitely underrated, dude. He's probably one of the top receivers in the league, and there's almost not a ball that he's not go up and get when you target it. So, in that aspect of it, when you look at all the help Justin Herbert has up front, you're here first. I'm going to say the kid's going to throw for 45 to 5,000 yards this season, upwards of 45 touchdowns, and a front runner in the race for the NFL MVP. And I'm gonna start right now and say the Chargers are going to take their division and win more than 15 games this year.
I like the confidence. I love it. I respect it.
John knows what I think about that.
Well, Jordan's actually a Chargers fan as well. He just wears Patriots colors. So you kind of answered my second question. I was curious if you felt like there might be some type of a sophomore slump from Justin Herbert. I have to agree with you. I think the guy is, I think he's gonna be phenomenal. I don't personally think he's gonna have a slump, but we'll see. My thing is for LA, as we all know, their biggest problem is Kansas City. It's just like no secret right there. Like Kansas City, they had a decent offensive line. I feel like their offensive line got a little better considering they traded like the whole fucking line and got a new one. How do you think that bodes well? Like if you look at Kansas City right now, do you see them, winning 13 games?
It's hard to tell right now. Obviously you can't disregard Kansas City's weapons. Patrick Mahomes is always going to be solid, but if you look at last year's playoffs, and if you could kind of put pieces in place on your defense to run the same kind of scheme against him that other teams used in the playoffs, you have a chance at slowing Pat Mahomes down. He's not an alien. The guy's a human being. If you could find his weakest point and make him run out of the pocket, make him nervous, you have a chance at beating that kid on any given Sunday. Go back a couple weeks and you look online and you look at some of the comments that some former NFL players have made. Obviously it's baseball season right now, so I'm supporting my hometown Padres. Boasting the best record in the majors right now, the Padres, bro. But I have to say, it's on any given Sunday, any great team could be beaten because when you look at the NFL as a whole and you look at all the great teams from the past, you've had teams that have gone undefeated and lost in the first round of the playoffs. And obviously the cheating Tom Brady, which I can't talk too much shit about the guy because he's won so many Super Bowls, but whether he did it cheating or not, nobody else has ever done it, right? So I can't really, disregard that. But the margin for error in the NFL is so much slimmer than any other sport because the best team could be beaten if one guy makes a mistake.
It's just that one
guy.
That's true.
You get one chance in the NFL.
Right. One guy out of place will completely blow a defensive coverage team, and you can find a decent wide receiver wide open in the end zone. It's too easy. You can't make the mental mistakes in football that you can make in other sports. But with Patrick Mahomes, if you get him flustered, he could lose any given Sunday. You have that guy flustered, you can get him you can win. When you look at the Chargers in that I think it was week 2 game when Justin Herbert made his first start, they could have won that game. You know, there was points when our defense had that guy flustered in the backfield. He was flustered the whole first half. He was pissed the fuck off. He said, "Look, I've got guys chasing after me out there," and somehow he figured it out in the fourth quarter and put up me 1 point. And that's just the way the season went for us last year. When you look at Anthony Lynn as a head coach, he's had a great, a decent tenureship where he's 15 playoffs a couple times, or what was it? Once he took them once, and then the next 3 years they missed the playoffs with a 7-9 record. Obviously I'm not saying that he's a bad coach, but at the end of the day, it just goes to show that good teams can lose at any given time. The problem with the Chargers is they haven't had a solid up coordinator. I've been saying that since when they had Phillip Rivers. They haven't had a solid offensive line. And when you look at the pick of Matt Filer, what's the guy's name that we picked up from Detroit? Ojandu, or what's his name? I can't look it up on a computer. Sound crazy about the kid, but the guy can play football. He can straight up get his nose dirty and put a guy in the dirt. And then, so you look at Filer, you look at the other offensive line pick that we have, and then you look at Rashawn Slater, and you see what he's done on his college tape. It's just whether or not he could translate that to success at an NFL level. Obviously, he held up. I've seen some tape of him playing against what's that pass rusher's name, man?
Chase Young.
Yep, I've seen him hold up Chase Young. But when you look at Chase Young last year, he wasn't a downright just absolute ball hawk defensive lineman. The guy made some plays, but he wasn't breaking off the screen at you on every play, right? Not like some of the other guys we see. Like Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis was a guy who, immediately at the NFL level would pop off at the screen on anybody, and you know where he is at any given point on a Sunday.
All right, I like that so far.
He was a solid contributor, but he wasn't somebody last year. I want to see what he could do in year 2. And right. if he could hold up Chase Young, I'm excited to see what he could do at an NFL level, and I want to see what Justin Herbert can do being protected in the pocket.
All right. So I'm sure you heard us talking about Julio Jones and where we all thought like he's going to go, and like, what is your thoughts on that? Would you like to see Julio in I almost said San Diego. Would you like to see Julio in Los Angeles?
You know what? The guy would look great in a Chargers uniform. Let me tell you what. I've seen some mock-ups of what he looks like in a Chargers uniform, and you know what? Nobody's going to sit there and tell you that Chargers uniform is trash. All right, because that's one of the hottest fucking uniforms there is. But
I'll tell you the uniform's trash.
But personally, dude, I don't know. Julio's getting up there in age. Obviously, he's an outstanding athlete. But I don't know personally what he's going to bring to the table at this point in his career. Sure, he's going to go up there and catch a few balls a game, but is he going to be worth the price tag that the Falcons are asking for?
Did I not just say that earlier?
Yeah, he's 31 years old. Obviously the guy's an incredible athlete. I'm not going to take any from some. I'm not going to say he's going to hit slump because look at dude. Look at Frank Gore. He's been playing in the year a long time. Obviously he's lost some steps, but he could still pop a fucking punch and hit somebody in the mouth. But
Adrian Peterson.
Another one.
Father time always takes its play at some point in a career, and he's too old at this point to take that much of a gamble and give up a first-round draft pick for a guy that you have toss-ups about.
You also didn't talk about Corey Linsley, the center you guys got. That's who you guys got in free agency, the center from Green Bay.
We did get him too. And that's another guy.
I seen a little stat of him. I think he was like 91.5 rating from PFF, which was first in the NFL.
Yeah, he was a Pro Bowler last year.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's also like I said, dude. This is a year-to-year thing. You never know what a guy's going to do. I had high hopes on Brian Bulaga last year, right tackle from Green Bay, who came over for us. And he played in so many games, but he didn't. With the mess that he had around him, it was hard for me to tell how good the guy actually was because he was always trying to constantly pick up somebody else's assignment.
Yeah. So last year, the Fat Man and I pegged the Chargers as the AFC version of the Atlanta Falcons. Would you agree with that's like pretty much how the season went for you guys? Like the Atlanta Falcons, mostly there was a stat there that if every game ended at halftime, both Atlanta and Los Angeles had a 10-6 record. So I mean, that's brutal. Honestly I've seen LA going through that a lot. You know, being up in games and then just kind of like close it out. So do you feel like the new coach, you know, the upgraded offensive line, Justin Herbert, you're ready to let all that shit go? You just want to see, you know, them going forward.
You know what? Like I said, you know, I don't want to say they're going to win a Super Bowl, but I'd love to see them back in the playoffs. Like I said, I believe they can win more than 13 games this year. But my franchise is such a seat-getting franchise. It's been that way for the last since I'm probably 6 years old, man. I'm pushing 30 now. So I've watched enough football over the time that, you know, I've seen a great team lose to obviously a cheating team, the Patriots. You know, when you look at that 06 playoff game, you know, even, you know, it's crazy because when you look back at those years and you look at LaDainian Thomas's MVP race, you know, what the number he was able to put up in that season, which is, in my opinion, nobody will ever touch that touchdown number. 32 touchdowns.
Honestly, I thought it was going to get touched a few years ago from Todd Gurley, but that was the season.
And still, he didn't touch, and he had a phenomenal year. I think nobody's going to touch those numbers, dude. But when you look at the Chargers team back at that time, you know, there were easily 3 years that team could have won the Super Bowl. 3 years running. You know, they beat. You know, they were sitting number 1 seed in the AFC. They knocked off the Broncos and the Chiefs and the Raiders. They were like runover games, winning 45-7 or 14. The team was the team to beat. And, you know, they came in and got run over. So you want to talk about heartbreaks and trying to let the past go. I feel like I'm doing that for the last 20 years.
I got a real question.
Hold on, Jordan. Hold on to that question for 1 second.
Okay.
Can you say fuck Tom Brady real quick?
I fuck Tom Brady, bro.
Yes!
Fuck Tom Brady.
All right, go ahead, Jordan. Sorry, buddy.
How do you feel?
I admire how much he's won, but you know, I can't say it's all been honest. You know, especially the years where I've watched him steal playoff wins against my Chargers. So, you know, obviously you can't take it away from the guy. Otherwise, if they proved the guy was cheating, they still didn't take a Super Bowl from him. But it is what it is, dude.
Yeah.
How do you feel about losing this guy?
Who?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, you know, Hunter Henry. Right now, dude, it really didn't bother me all too much, to be completely honest with you. He's had some injury concerns. He's had some problems staying healthy at this level. But he's a stud. I mean, you look at him and when all is placed right, he could come down with anything in the end zone. For Patriots, I see him more being like a pass block, and then kind of a ditch block and go out for the fade kind of receiver for them. He's not somebody Belichick's going to send downfield. I really don't see it happen. He's not his ideal guy to send down the field and do that. He doesn't have quite the size that Gronkowski had. He doesn't have the size that Aaron Hernandez had. When you look at those two pair when they used to play, those guys were huge, right? Even Henry isn't as tall as those guys. He's nowhere near as fast as those guys were.
Yeah, I think Jonnu is going to be more of our deep threat guy at tight end.
Yeah, that's all I'm about to say the same thing. And you're going to catch Hunter Henry in the red zone. I agree.
But Henry's definitely versatile. You could expect a name to be called a couple times this year.
John Smith definitely going to do the
Didn't you guys sign what's the guy from New Orleans? Didn't you guys sign him at tight end?
Jared Cook.
Yeah, Jared Cook. Yeah. So
he's another guy I have questions about. You know, that's why I haven't really mentioned him to it. He's obviously up there in age. When you look at it, he's 31 years old too. So how much is he going to actually be able to contribute? You know, I think
he's older than that.
But yeah, I see him catching a few balls, but I don't see him making a major impact. I think most of our offensive firepower is going to come out of the backfield and downfield from the receivers this year.
He's 34.
Yeah, I thought he was a little.
He'll be 30. He'll be 35 soon.
So I I wouldn't be the fat man if I didn't ask the most important question. What are you going to get to eat, Mr. 619er?
Oh, dude.
It's fitting.
I'm right out here at Payway. We're gonna fuck around and eat some Payway tonight.
And now my next question is I'd love to have a Chargers fans take on this. Phillip Rivers, is he a Hall of Fame guy?
You know, growing up watching him all the years when the Chargers were a really solid football team and all the fire and the passion they brought to the organization, Phillip Rivers was a competitor. You know, when you look back at this guy's tape from when he first stepped on the football field, obviously he had a couple years before he went out and started a game. You could tell the guy was a baller from the minute he took the football field. He's a fiery competitor. There isn't a team in the AFC, even given the Steelers, on any given Sunday when you saw that your team had to face Phillip Rivers, that you weren't worried. You know, any Steelers fan will tell you, even with Ben Roethlisberger under center, anytime you saw Phillip Rivers on the competitor sheet, you're worried about that, because that guy was a fiery competitor. He was somebody that was reliable for a very long time, and in his younger years, that guy would throw the ball with the best of them. So yeah, I'd like to say that Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer. You know, obviously he's top 5 in all of them, or at least top 10 in all of the major categories. And when you look at his career, yeah, he didn't win a Super Bowl. You know, but Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl, and he threw 60,000 yards
Amen.
and 500 touchdowns too. So you know, hats off to Dan Marino too. Hell of a career. Stuck it out with one team his whole career. You can't say enough about the guy. And I got to put him up, Phillip Rivers up there with Dan Marino. I say you can't keep the gold jacket away from that guy. Hell of a competitor for a long period of time, and he had the resilience and the heart to stay on the football field, even through torn ACLs. You know, you name the injuries in the conference championships game, torn ACL, MCL, and he still stood in there and swung the football. So yeah, I'd say Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer.
I
So
agree.
do you
He
think
is.
Phillip Rivers kind of suffered, reputation kind of suffered because of the era he played in and the guys he had to play with in that time frame? The Peyton Mannings, the Tom Brady's, the Eli Mannings, the Drew Breeses, where Ben Roethlisberger, where, you know, Rivers is probably like the 7th or 8th quarterback you think of in that stretch for most fans.
Right, and for most people, you know, that's obviously going to be the case, right? But I just want to go back to the last statement I made a couple minutes ago, where when you're talking about Phillip Rivers, right, and you're talking about, you know, 5, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago, you know, all these other guys, you can't say that when Tom Brady knew he was facing Phillip Rivers that he didn't amp his game up against Phillip Rivers, because he knew that Phillip Rivers was a competitor, and he was out to get under his defensive player's skin. And not only that, he had the game knowledge. So even though he was overshadowed by these guys, any of the announcers over the last 15 years will sit back there and tell you that when they talk about Phillip Rivers, you could not count the guy out. He would sit in there and gunsling it with the best of them.
I personally love the Phillip Rivers shit-talking little highlight clips you could find sprinkled all over the place. They entertain me quite a bit.
Here's another thing.
Yeah, no.
If Dan Fouts is a Hall of Famer, Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean,
definitely Hall of Famer.
obviously, yeah, and you know, look back on Dan Fouts, he didn't have anywhere near the numbers that Rivers has. Obviously, he played in a different era, and he was a great quarterback for his time, but his completion percentage wasn't great. You know, obviously, I think it was like 53% on his career. His touchdown to interception ratio wasn't great.
So I
Still made the Hall.
I got an opinion on this.
Yep.
All right. So your first
I
comparison,
think it was because he was like a top 3, top 4 quarterback back in his time, and
Oh yeah, no, he was definitely a tough
like
guy
I said,
back
he
in
gets
his time.
over.
He could play it.
That's why I think Rivers, if he don't make it, he'll just get overshadowed by like big.
He'll make it. I don't think he'll first ballot guy, but he'll make it.
Yeah, I think he'll
See,
get in. Because if
I
Eli is
honestly
getting in,
don't-
he's definitely getting in.
I honestly don't think that Rivers is a Hall of Famer. Like, I definitely agree with everything that you're saying. Like, when it comes to a competitor, you know, he put up a lot of numbers. But like, let's go to the actual accolades, right? So you made a comparison that his career was close to Dan Marino. If I were to tell you it wasn't, would you like me to prove it to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
put it up
we're
on the
gonna
screen.
use-
I
we're
want to
gonna
see
use-
total career numbers between both guys.
We're not even going to talk about the numbers because when you talk about two guys from two different eras, the numbers will never correlate because we are now in a passing league. Rivers, got the benefit from that type of era. But let me just show you something on why I believe that he doesn't stack up to Dan Marino at all. So just give me 1 second and I'll get everything ready.
This is the same argument I used, by the way.
And why he's doing that, I wouldn't put him with Dan Marino, but I feel like, on the concept of becoming a Hall of Famer is a yes. I'm not comparing those. So I'm not on the comparing. That's between y'all two. But my reasons is because of what his career was. I wouldn't stack him with Dan Marino. I wouldn't do that. But I think he's still made the Hall of Fame. Not first ballot guy, but I think he'll make it. Just off his
So,
accuracy.
I don't think.
I was
I'd be
on the
surprised
side of
if
you,
Philip
Mr.
Rivers walked in on a
619er.
first ballot. Like I said, I'd be surprised if Philip Rivers walked in as a first ballot Hall of Famer. But I have no doubt that he's going to get gold jacket at one point or another.
Yeah, I agree. He has the numbers to prove it.
And I only use Dan Marino as a comparison point because he's the only other quarterback I could think of other than who was the Bills quarterback for a while there.
Jim Kelly.
Yeah, but he took him to 3 Super Bowls and didn't win. Now, if you look at Philip Rivers, I can't honestly say that if he had been to 3 Super Bowls, he would have lost all 3. I don't think it would have happened. But in the case of a franchise point of view, when you look at a guy who'd only been to 1 Super Bowl, as in Dan Marino, or did he go to 2? But he never won one. Their career passing yard statistics are pretty straightforward and are damn near the same. I think Phil Rivers had 63,000, and Dan Marino was like one of the first to 60,000. And then if you look at Dan Marino's passing touchdowns, I think he had 541. If I remember right, it's 541 for Marino. And then if you look at Philip Rivers, he had 523. So I'm not going to sit there and say that they're exactly alike. Obviously, Dan Marino had a few more touchdowns, might have had a few more touchdowns. Marino might have had a better interception ratio. But in the likes of their careers, the type of team that they played for, one of the lower grossing teams in the NFL, somebody that wasn't a big powerhouse name like the Cowboys or the Patriots, who had the revenue to put out solid products on the field for so long. Obviously, they had ups and downs. But when you look at Marino's career, right, you look at all the ups and downs that he's had. They played for similar type teams. They played for teams that had up and downs during his tenure.
Okay, so I'm just gonna let you guys do the eye test on this, right? So we know that their career numbers are pretty similar. 63,000 yards. He's got a better completion percentage. The touchdowns are kind of similar. All right, but let's just go right here. We'll just do this list right here. These are the record that Philip Rivers has accomplished in his career. All right, and then we go down here, and we have the honors, the 8-time Pro Bowl, the NFL comeback player, touchdown co-leader in 2008, passing yards, passing leader, all great stuff. All right, which, I agree, great competitor, phenomenal football player, but I don't think he belongs in the Hall of Fame. I just don't think he has enough accolades, and here's why. Here is former records from Dan Marino. Just do the eye test for me. Is it close?
You guys serious right now?
We go all the way down this list. This is all the records that Dan Marino has as a football NFL quarterback. It's not close.
So you're going off records on his records, not statistics on why he's not going to Hall of Fame. That's what you're saying, right? You're going off the record.
If we make a comparison that Philip Rivers' career is close to Dan Marino's, and we're going to use it in a league where it's easier to pass the ball, they're the rules tailored. You can't do certain things, right? If we're going to compare the two careers, you have to look at individual accomplishments in order to achieve this fact, because Rivers had it easier than Dan Marino. Marino did it 84. you know,
Fair.
we're talking the 80s into the 90s. That's when Marino did it. It's a completely different era. He did it when nobody was doing it. Just look at that, like right there. That's impressive. The
This
amount.
is Dan Marino.
This
Yeah.
is Daniel Marino compared to Phillip Rivers.
I'm gonna tell you why Phillip Rivers is going to get it. In my opinion, I'm more of a statistic guy. Accolades is cool. It's great. It's a good thing to have to bug your stats. When you look at these numbers says Hall of Fame. Let me drop it on you real quick. He's completed 64.9% of his passes over the career. That is impressive to do that. Dodging her tenure, that is something to be said. And also having 65,000 passing yards and having a career of 95.2 pass rating your entire career. That's Hall of Fame numbers right there. If
But
you
the
look at
thing
it,
is
Huh?
back in the 80s and 90s, having a 57% completion percentage is equivalent to today's 65.
but like you just said, it's a passing era now, type era now versus when it was for Dan Marino. That's why I feel like off his numbers itself, his longevity, what he was able to do with the Chargers, and his accomplishments with the Chargers will eventually get him in. I'm not saying he's the first ballot guy, but I think that somebody's going to get in eventually. And with the numbers that he has, he's getting in because of that.
And
All
look,
I'm
I'm not saying Phillip Rivers is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But
No,
what I
I'm not
am
saying that
telling
either.
you, individual accolades are not something to boast when we're talking about a Hall of Fame career. We're talking about
Yeah.
somebody who started 300 consecutive games. Over 300 consecutive games. What was it, 296, 297?
I
So
think
we're
it's
talking about somebody who
Yeah, I think
started
he
every
finished second
Sunday.
all time behind Brett Favre.
Yeah, so we're talking about somebody whose tenure was as reliable as some of the best to ever play the game. We're going to somebody who still put up 65,000 passing yards. What was it? Over 400 touchdowns. Played with the likes of LaDainian Tomlinson, Antonio Gates. You know,
But even in Phillip Rivers' era,
the leading tight end combo until Tom Brady and Gronkowski came back. We're talking
But
about
even in his era.
individual accolades aren't gonna matter when you're looking at the span of an entire career, right?
Exactly.
When you look
a span of an entire career, right? Even if we were to compare him to his counterpart, in my opinion, would be Drew Brees. Drew Brees' accolades and records are substantially more. Like, it's not close. Rivers did so much less in his tenure than we really realize. Now, numbers are inflated. The numbers have been inflated now for the last 12 seasons. And a guy like Rivers, no offense, I think he's great. He's good. But he's not – at no point did I sit there and look at the list of quarterbacks and said, wow, Phillip Rivers is the best quarterback in the NFL. At some points in times, I thought Drew Brees was. At some points in times, I thought Aaron Rodgers was. At some points, you thought Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, all these guys. Brett Favre. All these guys that are in the Hall of Fame, you sat there and you thought, this guy is possibly the best player at his position. That's usually what happens. Now, when we look at his body of work, yes, he's got 60,000 passing yards. He's got over 400 touchdowns. He's got a ton of starts, consecutive starts, which I think is the most impressive statistic of that, of that career.
You're looking at the foundation of reliability, right? When you Phillip Rivers, you see nothing but reliability. And let me tell you, I'm not trying to take away from Dan Marino either. I'm Italian, dude. I love me some Dan Marino. I thought he was the shit growing up. But I look back at some of his tape, I could fucking sling the football with some of the best of them. But like I said, I don't think Rivers is a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I do think he gets in based on his numbers and how reliable the guy was. When you look out and you face Phillip Rivers on any given Sunday back in the early 2000s, which from 2004 onward, you couldn't sit there and say, oh, I'm not going to worry about Phillip Rivers. There wasn't a Sunday when the Chargers played the Dolphins back in I think it was during LaDainian Thompson's MVP season when those two teams were back there and you saw Phillip Rivers throw a touchdown to LaDainian Thompson and then to Vincent Jackson to steal that game against Miami. There wasn't a day when he faced up against your team and you weren't worried about him. even Tom Brady, even Brett Favre, even some of the guys that he's played against, even Drew Brees, couldn't say enough about him. So you're looking at some of the best in the game, and you're getting the respect of those guys from your tenure and your time with the team for such a long time. You can't sit there and deny that he was one of the best to ever suit up at the position.
I think he's one of the best quarterbacks that didn't win the Super Bowl, if you ask me. One of the best that did not win it.
One of the most. No, he's one of the most deserving players that never won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I believe he'll get it because of the numbers and what accolades he do have. Nice accolades don't par with Dan Marino and Drew
Brees. I blame it on the
Brees.
Chargers front office. I blame it on fucking Dean Panos. I blame it on fucking what's that fucking dipshit's name? Tom Telesco. He never got him a fucking solid offensive line. Did you back in 2007? Did you see the Chargers offensive line? Had Rivers been healthy in that AFC Championship game, you would have seen the San Diego Chargers host the Lombardi Trophy.
So, I got a question. What do you think of Jared Goff?
I had a better question.
I don't know, man. He's had up and downs. He's one of those guys that I've seen have a lot of ups and downs early in his career so far. He's in what? He's going into year 6?
So if I were to tell you that Phillip Rivers is last generation's Jared Goff,
that would be a very, very, very disrespectful even comparison. That would be
Jared Goff
extremely disrespectful comparison.
isn't a bad quarterback. Statistically, he's not a bad quarterback. Statistically, his numbers are great. Statistically, it looks great. But I'm telling you, that's Jared Goff last generation.
You must be stopped. You must be stopped.
Be honest, bro.
I proved it to you. Accolades.
You going off of accolades. It's not just about the accolades, what you did on the field, numbers-wise. Statistically, his number says Hall of Fame.
The things you can do on the field correlate what your accolades are. That's how it is. No matter what.
So we just ignore numbers. We go straight to accolades. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm being truthful about the whole situation.
I don't agree. Those numbers.
You can't
those
put
numbers says Hall of Fame.
Two names together and say, look, these guys compare with each other. Okay, because they don't. When you look at Jared Goff and you look at Phillip Rivers, you're looking at two very different guys. Jared Goff has no confidence.
I got a question for the Steelers fan. I got a question for you. Russell Wilson Hall of Famer right now if you retire?
Yes.
Why?
Accolades.
What names besides the Super Bowl MVP? Super Bowl. What accolades? Let's talk about him.
Only quarterback ever in 9 straight seasons to never lose more than 7 games.
So that's it. Go ahead, keep going. What else says Hall of Famer?
2-time Super Bowl. He's
2-time.
led the league in touchdowns 3 times.
Which is one.
Hold on, if you're gonna let me speak, I'll tell you.
Oh.
So, he's led the league 3 times in the NFL on passing touchdowns, which is already 2 times higher than Phillip Rivers. So, and he's also in year 9. Plus, he's got I believe he's second in the league right now in consecutive starts. So, if he plays 16 years, he passes Rivers. He's also on pace. I believe he's 3rd all-time right now in the first 9 seasons in touchdown passes, only behind Peyton Manning and Dan Marino.
So you're telling me that Russell Wilson could end his career right now and he's a Hall of Famer over Phillip Rivers?
That's correct.
I think he's being a homer. You sound like a homer over here, man. And he got 1 Super Bowl, actually. I don't know what's with that, too, other than 1.
He's been to 2 Super Bowls.
Russell Wilson has 1 Super Bowl. What are you talking about?
The same weed as Dave?
2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 win.
I'm about to say he won 2 Super Bowls at the beginning. I'm about to say, wait a minute.
Look, I respect the argument. I respect you guys coming at me. That's fine. I love it. But, if you're going to come at me, you got to have an open mind about it.
You going off
I'm telling you that his accolades.
Hold up. I got what you're saying.
Up to a guy that played half of his career.
We understand what you're saying about the accolades, but it's just more about accolades now. It's about the numbers, too. Those numbers that Hold on. I'll let you talk. Hold on. I understand and respect what you're saying about the accolades. I get it. But when it's more than just accolades now. it busts the numbers as well. And if you look at Phillip Rivers' numbers, those are Hall of Fame numbers. They're not first ballot, no, but those numbers will get you a jacket. I promise you it will. Not first ballot at all. I'm not saying he's the first ballot guy. As soon as he's done, he's going in like he's done right now. But what I'm saying to you, those numbers says Hall of Fame. And he has accolades. Maybe he don't have a long sheet of accolades, but he got enough accolades that'll put him there. Like his Pro Bowls, his comebacks, his All Pros.
So here's how I'm gonna end my side of this argument. Is Hines Ward a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Yes, he is.
Absolutely.
Yes, he is.
Absolutely.
This was the greatest blocking wide receiver I've ever seen in my life.
All right.
I agree. Hold on. I gotta speak on behalf of the Steelers fan here, okay? When I look back in the early 2000s, when I watched Hines Ward play, there wasn't a down that guy wasn't a goddamn.
I promise you.
All right. So
the most physical wide receiver I've ever seen.
Hines Ward is probably the biggest Rocky story aside from fucking Rocky himself.
I like that.
You know, I fucking love that guy. You know, when he let his play do the talking. Hines Ward wasn't a talker.
I promise you he did.
Play do the talking. All right, and that guy he might have had all fucking yardage, but that guy came up in big fucking clutch moments every single time.
Trust me.
And when you and you know, I don't have any issues with Steelers fans because you know what? I can't even talk shit. I had an uncle that was a Steelers fan, so I'd watch the Steelers from time to time play some ball when I was a kid. And when I looked at Hines Ward, when I look at that team, when I look at Palomalu, obviously Palomalu is going to be a Hall of Famer. Hines Ward is going to be a Hall of Famer because when you look at those guys, there wasn't just like I say about Phillip Rivers. You can't look at those guys and say you weren't worried that they were going to have a big-time play in a big-time moment when the team needed it most. Those guys would come big. And even when you look at Phillip Rivers, there was a point in his career when at any given point on a Sunday when he was on the ball field that he wasn't going to come up big for you when you needed it the most.
So I agree with everything that you're saying about Hines Ward, right? At no point, me watching football, have I ever sat there and felt the same way about Phillip Rivers? And we're talking about a receiver that isn't in the Hall of Fame. And he's got Hall of Fame numbers. And we've talked about a receiver that did so much on the field and off the field. And we could just compare them two and just accolades itself. Like Hines Ward demolishes him on the accolades sheet. That's a Hall of Famer.
There's two different positions, though. That's two different positions, though. That's two different positions.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, they do. The numbers are different on different positions.
You answered my question for me. You said that he's got Hall of Fame numbers and he's not in. Phillip Rivers has quote-unquote Hall of Fame numbers, and I don't think he's going to get in.
I mean, we all try to pay that in the day now. We all try to our opinions on that one. I respect the Hawks for that.
He's not going to be a guy that comes in and was on his first year of eligibility and gets his gold jacket. Phillip Rivers is not that guy. I'm not saying it's going to take a few years before, even 10, 15 years before he gets his gold jacket. But I tell you, you're going to hear first. Phillip Rivers will get his gold jacket. It's going to take time. He's going to get his gold jacket.
I promise you he will. And I'm going to be right on this live and come for you to Hawk. And we're going to remember this conversation because when he does, we're going to have this conversation again. Now, let me say, I never once said he was the first ballot guy, maybe not even a second ballot guy, but I promise you, he will get it. Maybe if I had to guess, I had the opportunity to guess what I think it would be, maybe your third and fourth year. First try, excuse me, try. But not the first ballot guy.
Excuse me, Anthony, you're going live on this podcast regularly. I will tag the shit out of you. I will stalk you, and I will tag you day and night. John, you're going on here regularly. Richard's going on here regularly, all right? You guys take it away. I run the back scene. Keep it going. Keep this tape rolling.
Richard
say something. Sounds good. But yeah, when you look at Phillip Rivers, like I said, he's not gonna be a first ballot guy, okay? Everybody knows that. Hines Ward hasn't made it in because when you stack him up with other players in his position, there is tons of guys on that list that he has to compare to. And that list is getting bigger every single year.
That's true.
Bigger year after year after year after year after year. But when you look at a franchise quarterback, that list doesn't grow as often because rotate and rotate, rotate. Look at the Browns. Look at what they've done over the last 10 years. They've had 20-something different starting quarterbacks in the last 10 years. 20-something. Okay? Philip Rivers had tenure in San Diego and Los Angeles long-term and stayed healthy. At the quarterback position, even today, to have that kind of long-term success at that position is unheard of. You don't see it. So Philip Rivers get in. He won't be, a first ballot guy because he doesn't have all the accolades. That I'll give to you. He doesn't have the accolades that
I agree.
Has. But when 20 years from now, people will still go back and compare guys that haven't won Super Bowls to Philip Rivers. I can promise you that.
Hey, Richard, speak on it. Give Richard Rich's take on it real quick. Go ahead, Richard. So Philip Rivers is Hall of Fame.
I mean, I was big with JD. I was a big Tomlinson fan back in the early 2000s. I watched a lot of San Diego Chargers games when I was a young buck. And I will say that at this point in his career, obviously for the last 5-6 years, Philip Rivers hasn't been what we were used to back in the early 2000s, which was a lot older, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
But if you watch Philip Rivers, and if you watch him in the first 5-6 years of his career, Philip Rivers was a stud. I mean, he didn't have the best. He had Antonio Gates. He had Antonio Gates. He had a good run game, but he didn't have many receivers. The defense was not elite by any means. And he was taking this team with Marty Schottenheimer to 12-4, 11-5, 13-3. I mean, this guy was a top-of-the-line quarterback for a good probably 6 to 8 years, which I guess isn't the best in the world. But again, if you look at his longevity, his consistency, and what he's taken into the playoffs in his career, the guy definitely has to be a Hall of Fame candidate. Maybe not first ballot, maybe not second, but there's going to be a ballot out there at some point in time where you cannot argue, you cannot dispute the fact that he deserves more votes than somebody else being put into that class.
That's all we're saying. That's all we're saying. That's all we're saying.
He'll make it in. And he'll make it in. You can't look exactly when you look back, just like you said, at his old tenure, his first tenure in the league. His first 8 starting years. There wasn't a team on any given Sunday that could discredit Philip Rivers, taking them to the promised land and getting them that W. He could gunsling it with the best of them. Obviously in the last 4 or 5 years, like you said, that army had it fell off. Father time took a toll on him. He couldn't throw it downfield like he used to, like he wanted to. And sometimes when he let go of the ball, he do it.
And one more point I want to make real quick before I let you guys get back to whatever. But if you look at it, too, Philip Rivers took over the same team that Drew Brees had for a few seasons before he got hurt and went to New Orleans after the fact. Drew Brees was not nearly as effective with this offense as Philip Rivers was right after. You remember, Drew Brees was not considered elite talent for the first 5 years of his career. Drew Brees was an average run-of-the-mill guy for a long time. It wasn't until Sean Payton got him that Drew Brees took off to what he is now. And you got to look at what Philip Rivers did with that same exact team that he got. That Brees was playing with the season before, and he was going to the playoffs consecutively. I mean, we're talking about Drew Brees comparison. There is a good comparison.
But you're also talking about at no point, none, from the time Brees went to New Orleans, from the time that Rivers staying in San Diego at the time, at no point.
This is where I got to stop you, dude.
Let the Hawk talk. Let the Hawk talk. Hold on. Let him out so we get him out. Let's hear him out.
At no point during that time was it like, oh, Rivers is better than Brees. Like, Brees balled the fuck out.
I got to ask you, how old are you, bro? How old are you? Are you 22 years old, 23 years old?
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm 30.
So we're about the same age then. So you should know when you watched Philip Rivers back in the early 2000s and you watched the team, every single commentator that watched him play back then put him in elite status. He was an elite quarterback for a long period of time.
He was
in the talks. He was in talks. His name was being thrown around with Tom Brady, with Ben Roethlisberger. His name was being thrown around with all of the great guys of that time. He was being compared to Drew Bledsoe. You know what I mean? Back in the early 2000s. Oh, this could be as good, if not better, than Drew Bledsoe. He could be.
Bledsoe's pretty comparable to Rivers. I agree.
Comparing him to Dan Marino. They were saying he was going to be better than Dan Phelps.
Well, you got to
They
realize,
were-
too, the first 10 years of Philip Rivers' career, 5 of them he was top 10, 5 of them he was a top 5 quarterback. People forget how good Philip Rivers actually was.
Right. He had a cannon,
He
man.
all these guys now. People forget. I feel like people forget
he
about
he
how
was
good
up
he
there.
really was at the end of his career.
He was
Philip
up
Rivers
there
at the end
every
of his
year in
career?
the passing touchdown category. His touchdown to interception category was up there with the best of them. Even if his team wasn't playing great at the tail end of his tenure in San Diego, his statistical stat sheet was up there with the better backs in the NFL. And there is nobody out there that if they actually watched football and kept up with statistics, looked at his stat sheet up next to Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, and they didn't say, look at these 3 guys. Look at these 4 or 5 guys. They're the best quarterbacks in the league. And it was like that year in and year out for 8 or 9 or 10 years. Those names are being thrown around together as the best quarterbacks in the league at that time, during that time.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I ever had him in my top 5.
I don't know. I mean, maybe not 5, but you could maybe 10.
Yeah, probably had him.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
But you,
Like I said,
but you can throw it out there and compare them, and nobody's going to sit there and tell you that in Miami in the early 2000s they wouldn't have traded the quarterback like Chad Pennington like they had in place. They wouldn't have traded for Philip Rivers in a heartbeat if the cards were on the table.
I don't know, but I like Chad Pennington got us to the playoffs for the first time in a long time.
I like that. Throw that in there real quick.
You're like, wait a minute, Chad Pennington did something for us.
Will I take Philip Rivers over the? Will I take Philip over the rest of the bums? Yeah.
But see, also though, you got to look at what the players had to work with too. You figure Breeze went to New Orleans and had Marquise Colston and guys like that, and they had
my favorite receiver at the time.
Philip Rivers was.
All right, guys. Listen. I gotta go. I gotta get my family dinner really quick. Not back on here if you guys are still on in about 30 minutes.
Peace, buddy.
All right, buddy.
All right, man. Later, guys.
Chargers fan, guys.
Yeah, well, I'll get back together with you guys soon.
All right, bro. Go ahead, Rich.
And with him going out, Jacob's coming in.
What up?
What up, Jacob?
What up?
I've seen Madden in the background. You getting smoked?
No, I've been waiting for a player to do in a Madden franchise and haven't played a guy yet.
So you've been hearing us going back and forth about the Philip Rivers thing. I kind of want to move on from it, but real quick, what is your take? You think Philip Rivers Hall of Famer?
Of course he's a Hall of Famer. Why would he be?
Okay, fair.
I mean,
so my take on it with Philip Rivers, because I was kind of enjoying listening to you guys go back and forth.
Just don't compare a wide receiver to a quarterback in Hineswell and Phil Rivers.
It was a comparison of accolades, right? We're talking about 2 guys that aren't in. It's a comparison of accolades. It's not look at Hines Ward throw the football type of thing. I understand the difference.
Which I still can't believe. I can't believe Hineswell didn't get in the Hall of Fame before Calvin Johnson.
That's a different subject for another day. But go ahead, Fat Man. Go ahead. What you about to say?
Philip, to me, Philip Rivers isn't a Hall of Fame guy because when I think about that era, he's not one of the top 5 that come to mind. And like I said, he may be a victim of the era he played in. But also, if you're the guy, you're the guy. You have to be the guy in the era you're in. And I don't think Rivers was ever that guy in that era. I can understand how for a Chargers fan that's different. And it could kind of be, you see it through a different glass. You watch the team, you follow the team. For a guy like me that doesn't follow them and doesn't really watch them, I remember watching Philip Rivers throw 4 interceptions against my Dolphins to lose the game when Ryan Tannehill was my quarterback.
Everybody got their goods and bads. Everybody got their goods and bads. Come on, I don't do that.
To me, I said that Philip Rivers is almost like a slightly more talented Ryan Fitzpatrick. You know, he's
Chill out.
you don't know which one you're gonna get.
Chill out. Oh, no. Oh, no. That was a big one.
Touchdowns, or is he going to throw 4 interceptions? I don't know what I'm getting today.
No.
Oh, that was bad. Oh, no. I wouldn't say that. But I respect your opinion at the end of the day. What I will say.
Slightly better Fitzpatrick with no beard.
No.
They're in a competition for who has more kids.
Oh, y'all funny up in here. Y'all funny up in here.
He said they're in a competition.
Beard.
No kids.
Oh man. Well, go ahead. What we got? All right. That was crazy.
All right, so let's kind of move on from the Phillip Rivers thing.
All right.
We have our opinions. You guys have your opinions. That's
Yeah,
cool.
fair.
I
Agree to disagree.
Great.
Hines Ward, absolutely Hall of Fame wide receiver. No reason he shouldn't be in.
Son.
Thank you.
Get in this year, goddamn it.
Well, I thought you were going to get in this year. Actually, I was praying for it.
No.
Palomalo got the best of it, so it's all good.
But
They put Calvin Johnson in there before him.
But we had a guest come in that we didn't really get to know here. Richie Rich, who's your football team? What's going on?
Philadelphia Eagles guy, man. Die hard. Always have been.
All right, get off the pod.
So it's fun to have an Eagles fan because my hometown is in Pennsylvania.
I live in Pennsylvania.
So Philly fans, Steelers fans, we kind of know them well.
Yep.
What are you looking forward to this season with the Eagles?
I think that we're going to have a rough year, which is expected, right? But I don't think it's going to be as bad as people think it's going to be. I'm not seeing this team as I see a lot of like 6-11s and 7-10s. I think we have a shot at a playoff team this year. I think people forget our offensive line last year. We were on like third string linemen last season. Now the defense, as far as the secondary, we haven't beefed up at all. But with a healthy offensive line coming back, it comes down to Jalen Hurts, in my opinion. Obviously, a quarterback is extremely important at all times. So really, to me, it comes to do on the field. That's why I would say 9-8, 8-5 around there. I'm staying humble.
I respect it.
You're staying humble. You're a little optimistic. I mean, what do we got? What's his name? Devonta Smith. I like. Who's your other guy? Was it? It's not Jalen. Is it Jalen Rager? Is that who it is? Is that your other guy, Jalen Rager?
You Jalen Rager.
Okay, yeah. I couldn't remember. I couldn't get the name out. So, do you think that Hurts is going to have a pretty decent season? You think that they're going to have a nice little connection over there? Honestly, I love Miles Sanders. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL.
I love Miles. Well, that's the big thing for me is everybody keeps talking about this passing game, which is vital. Don't get me wrong, but we had one of the best rushing averages in the NFL last year. Last year, Miles Sanders led the league in yards per carry, and it made no sense that Doug Peterson was only running the ball maybe 11, 12 times a game. So I think Jalen Hurts will have a better season than people expect. I think a lot of that's going to come from play action and finally using Miles Sanders, because I agree with you. I think when Miles Sanders touches the ball, anything can happen. The guy's explosive if you give him a chance. But that's one thing that we've been lacking is nobody's given that man a chance for the last 2-3 years. The poor guy is barely getting the ball.
Yeah, he should. He definitely should.
He should be getting the ball 25 times a game minimum. I mean, without an argument. There shouldn't even be an argument.
I agree.
Yeah.
Trade the Pats Fletcher Cox.
I got a question for you, Richard Rich. Are you concerned with Devonta Smith body frame? Like, you think this guy can take an NFL hit? Or you know that's been skeptical about his body weight and feel like he should put some more weight on himself because how skinny he is. Are you concerned about that at all? The injuries could be an early stage for him?
Well, I mean, no, because think about it this way. Number one, he's a wide receiver, not a safety, right? I mean, if he was a safety or something like that, got to beef up. First of all, he's a wide receiver. Obviously, he played in Alabama. He played against a lot of good teams as far as in the major games. He played a lot of good corners that are going to be coming into this draft as well, and he always held his own. The best part is, I always compare it to this. When the Eagles first drafted Deshaun Jackson out of Cal, back in like 2007, 2008. People said the same thing about Jack. Oh, he's too small. He's going to take too many big hits. You're in a tough division in the NFC East. A lot of strong at the time. There were some good defenses in the NFC East. He's not going to survive, and he did survive for a long time. I think the big thing is though. I think Sirianni is going to realize that this guy is obviously undersized weight-wise. So you're not going to put him a lot of slant plays. I think he's going to be a big sweeper down the field. He's somebody I would use like a Chase Claypool almost. Somebody to run the seam, something up the middle of the field a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not running the slants very often though. I'm not putting him out across the middle of the field.
Linebackers is head below the waist. Now they going, especially these tall receivers, they headed them low. So are you concerned about that?
But when you draft a guy like that, you have to have a plan in mind. They already have plays in their mind they're going to run once he gets onto the field. So I feel like if Nick Sirianni's off, I mean, we haven't seen him coach yet. But if he's as offensive minded as Frank Reich claims he is, and obviously Frank Reich is a big part of our Super Bowl year, so I trust Frank a lot. I think it'll work out. I'm not too worried about Devontae. I think he's going to be explosive either way. He's fast, has great hands, he's agile. I think he'll make some big plays.
I ain't gonna lie, he was my favorite receiver coming out of the draft. I was like, this man's gonna be stud.
Yeah,
I was glad he didn't go to Miami because I watch a lot of Miami games. But I mean, I get to see a lot of him since he's on local television here.
For me, it was between him and Jamar Chase. I know everybody talked about Jalen Waddle, and I like Waddle. I think Waddle's more of a number 2 receiver in the pros. I think that's what ended up happening. But I felt like Jamar Chase and Devontae Smith were my 2 top guys coming into this draft by far.
Yeah.
Although I wanted J.C. Horn though. I wanted a secondary player, but.
How do you feel?
Go ahead, bud.
How do you think Carson Wentz is going to do in Indianapolis?
I think it's going to be a playoff season. I think without a doubt. I think they went to the playoffs with Phillip Rivers pretty much. I mean, I think Carson Wentz is better than Phillip Rivers at this point. I mean, Carson Wentz gets a
Stop it, Hawk. Chill out.
He caught that.
Hey, chill out. We just got done with the Phillip Rivers stuff. Leave it alone.
I'm making a point as far as Indianapolis.
I know. It's messing around.
Look at it this way: Frank Reich was the offensive coordinator when he almost won the MVP just 3 years ago. People act like Carson Wentz was like good 7 years ago. It was only 3 years ago he was on an MVP level. And if you watch, like I said, Philadelphia had terrible injuries on the offensive line. He was getting hit all the time. I mean, everybody was hurt. He had no receivers healthy. He had no offensive linemen healthy. They weren't running the football with any play action. The playbook wasn't built for Carson Wentz. It was built for Nick Foles, which is obvious if you look at the 2 players.
Foles go!
I think Carson Wentz, Indianapolis, I think they're going to be a playoff team. I'm not concerned for Carson.
I agree. I feel like Carson Wentz is in the best situation. He went from not having the best offensive line to having the best offensive line, not having receivers health-wise. Now he does in Indianapolis. Also, Eagles don't have that defense they once had when they won that Super Bowl. But he does and with the Colts. So he's in the best situation. Longest health-wise. If health remains intact, where they're not losing somebody deep, like somebody that very important to the team, this is a deep playoff run team. Now, I'm not saying Super Bowl. I'm not saying that because I'd rather have beat my team than anybody else's. But other than that, I think he's in the best situation. Yeah. Now, if he doesn't play well here, I don't know what to say because he's in the best situation right now.
He is. Honestly, we made like our picks with the Cheeto. I want to say a couple weeks ago. Like I honestly have Indy like really, really high. I only have them losing 3 games throughout the season. Like I have to agree with you that they're going to be really, really good. And I never really thought that Wentz was the issue in Philadelphia. I really felt like the play calling just got really, just really one dimensional. It just wasn't as mixed up as it was in years past. And I just got to say this: for a player to throw for over 4,000 yards and not have a single wide receiver break 500, that's impressive.
Right.
That's one of my favorite.
That's impressive.
He had practice squad receivers and won that division. That's what impressed me the most. Like
Greg Ward was our leading receiver.
That's what that man was a monster. He killed us in some of the games that we played. Like, oh Lord, and it's alive.
And let's be honest, the year that he went down for the last, I believe he missed the last 3.5 games the year he went down. He was winning the MVP that season.
Absolutely. No arguments.
There's no way that he wasn't.
No argument. No
The
argument.
only man that was close was my man, Russell. And unfortunately, he stunk it up the last 3 weeks because the injury bug hit us just as hard, just on the defensive side. So, I mean, he honestly would have had an MVP. He would have honestly, he that season alone, I feel like the year after that's even more impressive. So I don't think this guy's terrible at all.
Nah, me neither.
It's another one of those situations where it's one bad year and the team pushes them out the door way too quick. I mean, I think that's why everybody said drafting Jalen Hurts made no sense, and a lot of people said in the locker room it was causing a lot of issues. A lot of people didn't like the fact that it was Carson versus Jalen, then Doug Peterson got involved, and he made it even worse, and Howie Roseman got
stunk up the joint, literally.
So I think where Carson is going right now, there's no doubt he's the starter. Everybody knows that he's the guy. They're going to build the playbook a little bit more, and plus he kind of fits that Phillip Rivers play style where he's a pocket passer. He can scramble if he has. He's fast.
This Phillip Rivers shit gotta go.
That Phillip Rivers.
Hey, Richard, I got a question for you. Who was the worst head coach? Chip Kelly or Doug Peterson? Who was the worst in your opinion? The worst.
Chip Kelly.
I gotta Richard Rich this. Who was the worst? I need Richard Rich. I need Richard Rich on this.
Wait. That's first of all, that might be the worst question you ever asked. I think Chip Kelly not one of the worst coaches in England. He might be one of the worst head coaches in England. No competition. I mean,
he said Chip Kelly.
Let me get a major point. Okay, major point. You trade LaShawn McCoy, who's an All-Pro league leader.
Yep, got rid of trade him. Yep.
For Kiko Alonso, straight up, no draft picks, nothing for Kiko
Alonso. Yep.
Let me sum up Chip Kelly's career here.
You call Jackson a gang member and a criminal, and you cut him for nothing. You get
stupid.
And then you start causing all kinds of issues on. Listen, that guy made so many bad decisions.
I swear to God, Chip Kelly the worst.
Let me tell you what Chip
Kelly didn't know what he was doing. He had no clue. That was his first time coaching the NFL team, and when he left college football, he had no clue what he was doing.
Well, go ahead,
Let me say this. Chip Kelly, whole career, this is what he did. He went out to the store and bought himself a brand new bag of cheesy Doritos, all right? And he opened up that bag and dumped all the Doritos out, all right? And then he went back in the store and bought the off-brand shitty Doritos.
The great value.
Opened that up and filled the bag of Doritos up. That is Chip Kelly's career in the NFL.
Oh, man. The worst.
He traded his Lambo for a 93 Civic. That's what the fuck he did. That's exactly what he did.
Chip Kelly the worst. Oh, man. That was funny. I had to ask that. I had to ask that.
Chip Kelly was awesome.
Oh, I was fearing you going to say Doug Peterson. I was in fear. I said, if he said Doug Peterson, I'm done with him.
I had to watch that every week. Screw you, man. That's bullshit.
Hey, Hulk, I got a question for you. I'm lining everybody up. I have a question for you, Seahawks. Everything good in Seattle? Like Russell Wilson no longer tripping about asking for help or wanting to leave? Is that over with?
I'm only here so I don't get fined.
We gotta know. Is everything good over there? He's not for no trade no more. Y'all looking to trade him no more? What's going on?
I'm only here so I don't get fined.
Come on now. You about to get fined.
Hold on 1 second.
Uh-oh.
If you better just don't know him. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Beast mode, guys. I just had to bring this over here. My boy Beast mode. All right, so listen. This is the thing. What happened with Wilson was a media blow up. All right. It seems everything that's come out after that, a lot of it was driven by CBS Sports. Surprise, surprise.
Right.
Everything that's come out after that, they seem to be good. Like, he did break a rule, which is he's not supposed to say anything about the offense being the reason why they lost, and practically in his interview, that's what he said. Offensive line, they were shit. I need help. Basically that's what he said. So he broke a rule. They kind of gelled, got that fixed up. Everything that's coming out right now, it seems good. I know that there's a thing about him not being at OTAs. He was out there working out in San Diego. It's not mandatory right now. I don't think it's anything to worry about. Although if it was me personally with the new offensive coordinator, I'm going to be there day one. That's just my opinion on it. I don't. It is what it is. I honestly don't have any worry whatsoever that Russell Wilson's not going to be a Seattle Seahawk this year or the next year. I feel like he's going to be at least another 6 years at the very minimum with Seattle.
The reason why I asked you because since Russell Wilson be with the Seattle Seahawks, we haven't beat the Seattle Seahawks. You know what I'm saying? He done creamed us both times. And hold up. We play out this season. This year, time, we're going to beat y'all.
At Pittsburgh.
We're beating you this time. We almost did it the year before, but stupid Connor would have fumbled the ball. But we'll talk about that later.
I remember that.
Fat man, your turn. What do you feel about Tua this year versus last year? What do you see there's going to be a big difference?
Tua?
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's going to know the playbook this year. We got him some weapons. He came out and said, we played it earlier in the podcast. He said, I didn't really know the playbook. I didn't want to make alerts. I kind of forced the play to work. I think now that he's going to be out there this year and he's going to be more comfortable, he's going to know the playbook. He's going to know where guys are supposed to be. The one great thing they say about Tua is his anticipation being spectacular, accurate arm. So with anticipation, knowing the playbook where guys are supposed to be, once he learns how to read the defense, I see great things for this young man. He's going to be 2 years away from that bad hip injury. I expect a little bit more mobility. I see things with him all the time, working hard in the offseason, working on mobility, working on that footwork. So I expect him to be a lot better.
All right, Jacob. Yes, sir. I know you're still a fan. So I'm going to ask you, what do you think Najee Harris brings to this offense?
He's going to bring everything to this offense.
Hey, your turn's over, Hawk. Go ahead.
He's going to bring everything. He's going to bring a running game. He's going to bring a receiver game. He's going to take a lot of pressure off of Big Ben. Because Big Ben was forced to throw that ball last year. He had no running game last year. And people don't understand that. Like, Ben was forced to throw the ball last year. Now with Najee Harrison, with this scheme and offense right now, if our offense steps up, the running game gets going this year, I think Najee's going to be an explosion. Like, I think he's going to bring everything, and he has.
All right. Big dog, I got a question for you. Oh, thank you, John. What's the question? How you feel about your schedule? Are you worried about it? No. I'm excited for it. I love competition. I don't want to go like we did last year. We had an easy schedule. Wanted the second easy schedule. Went 11-0. It didn't end well for us. We want to lose 4 of the last 5 games. So no, I love competition. The last time we had a tough season schedule, we went 10-6 and made the playoffs. We lost to the Broncos eventually, but we did it. So I'm not worried about the strength of schedule at all. Because I think I can't remember who said it. It doesn't matter who you play because it's any given Sunday, so anybody can take this L, like Seattle. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the schedule. I'm looking very forward to it.
I can't wait to sit
I ain't worried about the schedule either.
That ass live.
Oh well, we're gonna see you. We're gonna see you.
Yeah, you're coming to Pittsburgh.
Okay, I'm forward. I'm ready.
Watch Pittsburgh drop one in Cincinnati this year.
All right. Here we go with the BS. All right.
Yeah, Joe Burrow.
Here's the deal. This division now, there's no more clear cuts. That's what I really love. That's what I feel like we have the best division right now, in my opinion, because of that. Before, you used to know who's going to win the division. Now you just don't know now because it's competition everywhere now. Cincinnati ain't there yet, but they're going to get there eventually. Baltimore's already there, Pittsburgh's already there, and the Cleveland Browns is definitely there. Before you used to know who won the division. Usually it was either Pittsburgh or Baltimore.
The
It's
AFC
always
North,
that way.
the AFC North for next season's up for grabs.
So it's
Anybody can
competition
take
now.
that. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's
I
up for
think we know who's
grabs.
going to win it. It's going to be the Browns.
See, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody up for debate to talk about that now. So you just don't know.
That's
Because
been a
like I
big
said,
debate too.
because last year,
It's gonna be
because last year,
Cleveland, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati in that order.
that's fine. Because they had that same lineup last year too. And you want to know who won the division?
Pittsburgh.
They also said we was going to go 7-9 too last year too.
Pittsburgh still has the best. Pittsburgh still has the best
You want
defense
this
in the
division?
AFC.
You want this division? You got to come get it.
Still have the
But I
best
told you,
AFC in the AFC North defense.
I told you last year, though, John. Remember our lives last year? We talked
I remember.
about it.
I remember.
I said
You got to come take it from us.
the most overrated 11-0 teams of all time, and guess what?
Hey.
You said drop the 5 and then lost in the first round. The Cleveland Browns, baby.
Hey, a lot of BS happened to us during last year's season that I don't want to talk about, but we didn't end it like we wanted to. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, it didn't end it well like we were exactly.
I can't hear you. Say it again. Rich, I can't hear you. Say it again.
I said what? So you're gonna tell me now that Najee Harris being there just changes the whole landscape? Now y'all got it. Now
hold on, that's not what I said. Hold on. No, Richard, you know me better than that. That's not. Hold on, you know me better than that. I did not say that. You know me better than that. Don't do that. I feel like he brings balance to this offense. He's gonna bring what we did not have last year. Is what
exactly. No running game. We had no running game. No running game last year.
If he can bring us a running game, this team is going to be a problem. And if the offense don't do well, you know who's gonna bail us out like they always do, and that's that defense, and you know it. So don't do that.
Yeah. Exactly.
That defense didn't look so good against Cleveland in the playoffs.
Chill out. And we was tired. We was beat up. We lost a lot of key players. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff happened.
What were you tired from? Losing 4 out of 5 after going 11-0, acting all hype? Come on.
All right. First of all, being forced to play 4 games and forced to play 4 straight games, 13 days to practice, and then 5 and 19. We had no chance to practice. They said that because people kept getting COVID. People kept
a lot of
COVID.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to wear their face mask and things like that. So they forced us to play games without practicing. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of that had to do with it. But we don't want to talk about that right now. Last year is the past. We ain't talking about that no more. It's a clean slate. Hey, don't worry about it. A lot of those games, we were supposed to have won, and I'll be the first to tell you that. You know that. A lot of those games that we won out of them, we shouldn't have won. And I told you that. You know that. And anybody supposed to me before. A lot of those games during our tenure, we shouldn't have won those games. But credit to the defense. They did what they had to do. But defense was burnt out.
Defense basically won their games.
The offense was tired too. We was one-dimensional, but we was dinking and dunking for the last 8 games. After a while, teams are figuring it out. I agree, they're professionals. But how much stamina do you think a professional person has? A player has if you keep throwing them on the field. Like the defense supposed to help you carry you when you're not working. But if you keep getting 3 and outs, turning over the ball, how you helping your team? You're hurting your team, or you helping them? You forcing them on the field every round, every place action. We off the field. It's tough. It's tough.
Yep.
Yes,
it is.
This little boy where his receivers were, man. That guy was throwing balls in the dirt like he was.
Hey man,
we had receivers dropping balls last season too.
Especially Eric Ebron ass, he get on my nerves. But other than that,
Deontay Johnson was dropping balls.
Yeah, we'll get it together. It's a clean slate. It's a new year. We don't want to talk about what happened last year. Ended bad for us. Let's just say that after a good start.
You know I gotta mess with you, John. That's how it is.
You get on my nerves with you, Rich.
All right, man. So I kind of want to end this live. I thought it was really good. I thought all the viewpoints that we've had from everybody on here, thought it was fantastic. Thing is I don't want any of you guys to leave the studio. So if you guys will respectfully remove yourselves, stay in the studio. I want to talk to you guys afterwards. I got something else, pretty cool idea. Hopefully you guys are down for it.
Okay.
But I just want to end this live. Let Fat Man and I do the rest of our skit. Should take 2 minutes, and then I'll talk to you about my idea. How's that sound, guys?
That sounds good.
That sounds good.
All right. So, you guys already know, our T-shirts are here. They're live. and we lost 2 of them.
Oh,
we'll try to get them back. The T-shirts are live. Go to the Lavender Touch Facebook page. Go and get those things out for us. We've got something pretty cool we're going to do. It's going to be NFL Jeopardy on YouTube only content. We will try and get everybody here to watch it. I think it's going to be pretty fun. Hopefully I can get these guys to be contestants, but that's what we got going on for you guys. I'm going to pass this over to the Fat Man.
Yeah, guys. So go ahead over now. The link is in the chats. Click on that. Come on over to our YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. You're going to get some YouTube exclusive content. That's why we're cutting the pod short. Make sure you head on over, Lavender's Touch, get the T-shirt. That will also be blasted in the comments. And going down the road, hey, guys, we sell a couple of shirts. That's when we're going to start making hats. So you have the combo. Get the T-shirt. Here it is. They look nice. They're custom made. Come in any color you want, any size. So don't be scared. There may be an upcharge for the bigger sizes. We haven't figured that piece out yet. Don't be scared. Go ahead, get you one. Fat Man loves it. It's nice and cozy. Wear it out. Support your boys. Bring all your friends on over. Join us on YouTube. We're heading over now. I'm the Fat Man.
And I'm the Hawk. See you guys soon.